hope you're having a lovely weekend. Hi, Lisa, how are you? I'm very glad we've had a lot of rain, but the sun has now finally come out. So I think it's the perfect time to be talking about going to Disney and all of the things you could do in the sun, because when the sun is out, I automatically think of being on holiday. So it's absolutely perfect. But do let me know if you have a countdown or if you're thinking about booking to go to Disney. I'm super excited to be talking about the hotels today because I feel like it's one of the biggest decisions for when you are going to Disney is where do you stay? Which hotel is going to be the right fit for you? Do you stay on site? Do you stay off site? What benefits are you going to get? So we're going to deep dive into everything. I've had some great questions, and let me know your favorite resorts. Where have you stayed? What did you like? Was there anything you didn't like you wouldn't recommend? Would you go back? So yeah, I love hearing your recommendations as well. Hi, Berlin, how are you doing? It's great to see you. And yes, we are going to be having a lot of fun. I love these the most, getting to interact with you all. So thank you for joining. Hi, Lisa. I hope you've been having a lovely weekend. It's so good to see you. And yeah, well, I suppose we could dive into some of the questions because I love getting your questions and they're always the perfect questions. They're the ones that everyone's thinking of. So it's perfect. Hi, Kirsty. How are you doing? It's great to see you. So one of the great questions I actually think is all about Disneyland Paris. And maybe we'll start there. And it's like, what are the benefits of staying on site versus off site? And I think this is going to be, I feel like Disneyland Paris and Disney World have quite a few similarities with their benefits. But I would say if you're thinking about going to Disneyland Paris, my personal favourite benefit is extra magic hours. So you get to go into the park an hour earlier than everyone else. And you can get so much done at that time. I've managed to do 5 rides before, which is insane in 1 hour. And it's the big rides as well. So you can get Peter Pan, Big Thunder, rides like that done with a much shorter queue time. Something that is a big benefit that I think is easy to forget is that also your park tickets are included as part of your package. So sometimes if you're looking at an off-site hotel, once you actually add the park tickets, there's not that much difference in price. So I would always compare the two just in case, because you might find actually it's not that much more expensive to stay at Disney. And then, of course, you get extra magic hours. You get the free shuttles that are really frequent. They only take a few minutes to get to the parks. All of the hotels are also within a 15-minute walk, which is fantastic. All of the rooms now have coffee machines, which we were really surprised when we went in March. Even the Santa Fe, which is the cheapest hotel at Disney, has a coffee machine in your room now, which for a value resort felt very, very luxurious. Something I think is really fun is in Disneyland Paris, the characters meet at the hotels, but they are in costumes themed to the hotels. Unreal. Like, what a great piece of Disney magic. So, like, not only do you get to meet them at your hotel, they're in a costume that is themed to the hotel. I'm absolutely obsessed with that. If you've stayed at Disneyland Paris Hotel, let me know which one's been your favourite. And I have to say, I don't think there are any bad hotels at Disneyland Paris. All of the ones I've stayed in, I've always had a fantastic experience. So I feel like you can't really go wrong wherever you stay. So it could just be maybe there's a certain theme that you would like to enjoy. Maybe there's a certain budget you're wanting to keep to. And I honestly think they're all really, really, really fantastic. But let me see, I've written down, let me see if there's any more little benefits I thought of. Oh, well, obviously, the one that we need to talk about is the Disney bubble. Getting to stay in the Disney bubble, I think, having that magical feeling the whole time really does enhance the experience. So not only do you have the proximity, not only do you have the free transport, the park tickets, extra magic hour, you're just in Disney 24/7. Like, the hotel rooms are themed to Disney. That's something Disneyland Paris do really, really well. It is very Disney themed in the rooms. Like, or Marvel, of course, if you're staying at the Marvel Hotel. Some really great dining in the hotels as well. So even if you are going to be staying off-site, it's always worth checking out the hotels for their restaurants, because particularly somewhere like the Art of Marvel, the food there is really, really good. And if you are a Marvel fan and you're not staying at the hotel, this is a great way to go and visit. And it's like a 10-minute walk from the parks, which is fantastic. Okay, Lisa has said, in September we're staying at Pop Century, and it's my first time in a Disney resort. So exciting. In Disneyland Paris, I've stayed off-site, and in Tokyo we'll stay off-site too. Love hearing about all of the different trips. And yes, Pop Century looks incredible. I've never stayed. I've booked to stay next November at Pop. So I cannot wait to hear what you think of it. Everyone I know that's been has loved it. And I think the fact that it's a value resort that has a Skyliner station, incredible. And I know it's a bit more expensive than the All-Star resorts, but the fact that you have multiple forms of transportation, I think totally makes it worth the extra. So that's very, very exciting. And yes, staying off-site can be really good because sometimes you get really incredible offers. So even though, say at Disneyland Paris, you have to pay for your tickets on top, if you get a really unbelievably cheap deal, then it's worth it. I remember once, something else you can do is I had a flight that landed quite late. So I wasn't going to be able to go into the parks at all my first day. So I actually stayed in an off-site hotel and it was like £50 a night. And the room I stayed in had a double bed, a bunk bed, and a single bed. So you could have fitted 5 people in that room. So the price was unbelievable. That was the B&B hotel at Disneyland Paris. And then the next day I switched to Newport Bay. And that was a really great way to make sure you weren't missing out on the parks and like paying for the more expensive rooms that include the tickets and you don't get to use them. But there is a strip of hotels at Disneyland Paris where you have like the B&B, the Campanile, Grand Magic. There's like 5 different hotels. They all have a shuttle that goes to the parks and from the parks. So they can be really good. I've stayed at B&B and Campanile and I'd stay at both of them again. I had really good experiences. Also, a lot of people stay in Val d'Europe, which is one train stop away. It's like a 4-minute train journey. Loads of hotels in the area. Some of them also have shuttles. You can walk as well. It's probably maybe like a 15-20 minute walk to some of the hotels. Obviously, some of them are a bit further, but there are lots of options. So definitely price a bit of everything up just to see where you can get the best deal. But I do love that staying on site, you get the extra magic hours. Something else I love is you can book your dining for Disneyland Paris a year in advance, 12 months in advance. And some of the dining reservations go very, very quickly. So you get that added benefit of being able to access them first. Off-site people, it's supposed to be 60 days in advance. Not all the reservations go live at the same time. So some at the 12-month mark won't be available. It'll be closer. If you're booking off-site, some don't open at the 60-day mark. And stuff like character dining, you can only book 3 days before. So if you stay in a Disneyland Paris hotel, you have a big advantage over character dining. But yeah, there's lots of advantages. But sometimes, if you can get a really good deal off-site, it's worth it. But I can't also wait, Lisa, to hear about your Tokyo experience because I am so excited about that. Hi Sharon! Yeah, we were so impressed that the Santa Fe now had coffee machines because it's a value resort. And also, there were 2 big bottles of water. Now, we didn't have them replenished. It was just when we arrived. But they were complimentary as well. And I was like, this is amazing. Like, come through Disneyland Paris. Oh, Lisa, that's very interesting. In Tokyo, you only get a 15-minute early entry if you stay at a hotel. What can you do in 15 minutes? But it's interesting that it does make a difference. So, like, yeah. I suppose like you can walk, you've got a 15-minute advantage to walk to a ride. But I would say I was recently watching Paging Mr. Morrow went to Tokyo. Loved seeing his experience. He's one of my favourite Disney World vloggers, so it was great to see him in Tokyo. And he had the Express Pass, which is, I think it's called Premier Access like Disneyland Paris. And that seemed to make all the difference. Like, it was unbelievable. So I was so impressed with that. Hi Mark, how are you doing? It's so nice to see you and it's so nice to chat. The thing I love the most about the live stream is getting to chat to everyone in real time. So it's very fun. So thank you all so much for joining me. Yes, Lisa, I haven't been to Pop yet. I've been to the All-Star resorts. I've been to Caribbean Beach, Animal Kingdom Lodge. So I've done kind of one in each category. I'm trying to think because I previously have also stayed off-site. I've stayed at Universal. But not been to Pop yet, so very excited for that and cannot wait. It looks incredible, so can't wait to hear what you think. Mark, only 34 days until Florida. That is so close. How exciting. And a big group party of 8. That's going to be lovely to make those memories together. And yeah, it's a great idea. Like, October can be a fantastic time of year to visit, like lovely weather. You can get really great prices outside of the school holidays. But it's difficult if you are trapped to the school holidays, isn't it? It's such a shame that the prices go up so much. So I always feel so bad for families because it just becomes unbelievably expensive to visit. But I'm so glad to hear that you got a great deal. And yeah, again, it's just kind of shopping around, isn't it? Like sometimes you can get last minute deals that are really fantastic. Sometimes packages work out good. Sometimes DIY is much cheaper. So I always think a little bit of research goes a long way and helps you get the best deal. Yes, Berlin. I also want to check if I'm mispronouncing your name because I'm always like, I hope I'm pronouncing it correctly. So do let me know. But yes, I hope you get the bottles of water as well because I was so impressed that for a value you get a coffee machine and complimentary water, like unbelievable. You would expect that in like the deluxe resort. So the fact that Disneyland Paris are like kind of doing this for everyone now is amazing. Yes, Mark, I have heard that Swan and Dolphin are great places to stay because, like you say, they are much cheaper than staying in like a official Disney hotel, but you get the same benefits of being in a deluxe resort. So you get the extra evening hours, you get the early entry, all of those things. And like I feel like the Swan and Dolphin is like a hidden gem. So I'd love to hear your experience of staying there because they look amazing. And the fact that you're like right behind the boardwalk, so you've got all of that entertainment and dining. You've then got like you can easily walk to Epcot and Hollywood Studios, like amazing location as well. So very awesome hotels. Yes, Lisa, Swan and Dolphin were your second choice. Yeah, I feel like they are ones that we don't really hear so much about, but I think they can be really fantastic. Oh, fantastic. I'm so glad I pronounced your name right. That's wonderful. Sharon's going to the Santa Fe. You've been 6 times before. It'll be lovely for your sister-in-law and her family to experience it. Have they ever been, or is it their first trip? And yeah, I love the theming of the Santa Fe. Like, Cars is a film that I kind of the film I'm not so like I'm not like I have to watch it all the time. But I think the theming of it is fantastic. So when you see it in the Santa Fe Hotel or somewhere like Radiator Springs in Disneyland, the theming is incredible. And like the lamp that is a road traffic cone, I'm obsessed with it. It's ridiculous. It shouldn't be that important, but I'm obsessed with this lamp. And I just think it's such, and I really like that it's very Disney. Like that's something Disneyland Paris do really well. The hotels really, really are Disney. Whereas I think we're seeing Disney World move away from that. They're becoming a bit more simpler in their design. Whereas I want it to look like Disney's been sick on the room. Like if I go to a Disney hotel, I want to know I'm in a Disney hotel. So I think Disneyland Paris do that really, really well. Sharon, oh my god, that's amazing that your sister-in-law and her family have never been before. What an amazing experience. It's always so nice to visit the parks of people who haven't been and then get to see their reaction to everything, especially where you've been so frequently. You'll be able to like give them the best experience because you know it all, which is going to be amazing. Oh, this is a great question, Kirsty. What is my favourite snack in all the Disney parks I've ever been to? Oh, this is difficult. Snacks. Something I really loved in California is they did a Dole Whip, but it was like a next level Dole Whip because it had like dried mango and then it also had chamoy, which is like it was like a savory sauce. There was very distinct flavor, and then it also had tahini, which is like spices, and it was incredible. I've never had anything like that before. It was so, so good. I also am very partial to a Mickey pretzel, and I like to use it as like a hack as a breakfast. So instead of paying out for a breakfast, get a little $6 Mickey pretzel. Everything Mickey shaped tastes better, and it's nice that it's savoury because sometimes I'm like, oh, I want a snack, but I want something savoury. But I'm trying to think, it's hard, isn't it? There's so many little snacks you can enjoy. But I do love a Dole Whip. There's something about it feels very Disney, but also to have something like fruity and cold in the Florida sun is amazing. I would love to see a few more vegan snacks at Disneyland Paris. I think that would be amazing. The cookie I do think is very nice, but that's kind of like the only thing. You do occasionally get Ben and Jerry's vegan ice cream, but there's so many great snacks on offer in that park, and I always feel like, oh, I'm missing out. So I'd love to see some more of them. Hi, Christina. How are you? It's great to see you. And Lisa, yes, Hotel Cheyenne. I love Hotel Cheyenne. I think that's one of my absolute favourite resorts at Disneyland Paris. Even though it's a value resort, I think it's one of the best there. The theming is incredible. No matter what time of year I've stayed, it always feels quiet. And I don't know if it's just because it's like a big resort, but the rooms have always felt quiet when you're walking around. It's never like rammed. It's amazing. And I just think it's such a fun resort. I love seeing the characters in their costumes, and you can also meet people like Woody and Jessie, so they kind of really have the Toy Story theme going on there. The curtains that are Woody's shirt, incredible, need them immediately at home. They've also got an amazing lamp, which is the boot lamp. And again, it's like very, very Toy Story themed. So if you love Toy Story, it's absolutely worth going to. And I think it's one of the best. People have said, I've not actually been for their dinner, but people say that that's one of the best buffets in Disneyland Paris. So I'd love to check out Chuckwagon Cafe. It's something I should do because I've heard it's amazing. So it's great that our value resort also has an incredible restaurant. So absolutely love it. And it's opposite the Santa Fe. They've both got a really nice little walk along the river to get to the parks or the bus. And me and Peter, when we were there last time, we timed how long the bus took us. Now we were caught out at some traffic lights, so it did take more than 2 minutes. But if we didn't have the traffic lights, it would have been less than 2 minutes, which is incredible. It's so close. Ooh, what would be a good hotel in Disneyland Paris for if you love the Disney in your face interior theming? So I think the Cheyenne's really good for Toy Story theming because it's so highly themed. And then the outside of the buildings also being like really Wild West is amazing. I would obviously say as well the Art of Marvel Hotel. If you really like Marvel, that is incredible. And the theming is next level. And I also like that the rooms have the theming, but the whole hotel is packed full of Marvel artwork. And then you have the really cool they have these photo opportunities. They've done it so like there's a room that looks like it's upside down. So when you take your photo, you look like you're on the ceiling. Like it's amazing. You also get the Marvel meet and greets that you can only get there. So I think that would be really, really great. I think the Disneyland Hotel, the rooms look super classy, and it's really nice that they have touches from the different films, and there's so many different films you could choose, like the rooms from and what you're gonna get. I still think it's a bit too like I would like it to be really themed. Like if you I don't know if you've seen like in Tokyo they have the Toy Story hotel there. Literally incredible. Like that level of theming is insane. But I think Disneyland Paris, all of the hotels kind of do it well. I would say somewhere like Sequoia Lodge is a bit more subtle, it's Bambi themed. So you very much have the like the woody element. And it feels like a lodge, but it's not like I suppose I'm thinking like I want bright colours, but that's just me. And I think Newport Bay again, it's very like more elevated, classy, and there are touches like little Mickeys on the floor, like the carpet, and little touches in the room, like they have like a little bit of wallpaper around the top, but it's not as Disney themed as somewhere like the Hotel Cheyenne. Yes. But it might sound strange, but out of all the fantastic perks of staying on a site, my favourite one is being able to pay with the Magic Band instead of getting your credit card out. That is such a good point. If you are staying at Disney World, the fact that you can have a Magic Band and it is your park ticket, your room key, you can pay with things, it's your lightning lane, there's so many things you can do. And in fact, when I come back from Disney World, I'm always like, I wish I had a Magic Band for life. Like you could just open the car, get in the house, buy my shopping. Like it is so convenient. And like you say, it saves you getting things out and like, could a card fall on the floor and you lose it and stuff like that. Doing everything with your little Magic Band is fantastic. And the Magic Band Plus, where they kind of interact with the night shows as well, sounds fun. The only downside is they have to be recharged. So I don't know how much charge they hold. I don't know if it's something that you don't have to do very frequently, but I've got one of the regular Magic Bands from my 2018 trip, and when I went in 2020 it was still working, so I'll take it this year and see if we can still keep going with it. It seems like it's never going to die. It's like the Nokia 3310. It's just Magic Band's going to live forever. But yes, Kirsty, it was called a chili mango Dole Whip, and just it was flavors I'd never had before. I'd never had chamoy before, never had tahine, and it was great that you had this kind of like the sweetness of the mango, but then like the very savory taste of the chamoy, the like little bit of spice. Like it was so good. It was like such an elevated Dole Whip, and I was like, we need this all the time. Hi Serena, how are you doing? It's good to see you. Thank you for joining. So Cursor, yes, I've not actually stayed in the Art of Marvel Hotel, but every single time I go, I visit it. So I've been to both restaurants, both bars, had a look around, but I am desperate to stay there. It looks incredible. I had some friends that were there when I was in March, and we met up with them, and they were just saying like they don't want to stay anywhere else now at Disneyland Paris. They absolutely loved it. And it's really nice. You get loads of extra touches. Like they were given like sweets in a tin that was like all Marvel themed. You got like vanity kits, and they just got so many like nice little extras as well, little perks. So yeah, it's absolutely on my list. I actually, controversially, would prefer to stay there, I think, than the Disneyland Hotel. I think I don't know why. It's just there's something about that hotel that I'm really drawn to. But of course, I would like to stay at all of them. But yeah, I think the Art of Marvel Hotel looks next level. Yeah, Sharon, I'm obsessed with the lamps. I'm gonna have to like find someone on Etsy and just start decorating my house with all of these lamps. Hi Donna, yes, you're going to Newport Bay this summer. You're not so keen on the restaurants because they do, like you say, heavily feature fish. But like you say, the good thing about Disneyland Paris is everything's in such a close walk that you can easily go to different restaurants. You're right next to Disney Village, even in the parks themselves. That is very exciting. And of course, you're staying at Pop Century next year. I feel like Pop Century is the place to be. We're all going to Pop Century. But I do think out of the value resorts at Disney World, it's like the right sweet spot because you've got multiple choices of transportation. The other one, which also has that, is Art of Animation, but that's so much more expensive because they have a lot of family suites. So if you are a larger party, that can be a great option. But if you aren't, comparatively, Art of Animation is significantly more expensive. Sometimes it's even more expensive than some of the moderate resorts, which is crazy. And then the all-star resorts are fantastic. Like, I love them. Like, I think the rooms are super comfortable. It's got everything you need. But of course, you've only got the buses there. So I think Pop Century is kind of like the sweet middle ground. So I'm so glad we're all staying there. We can all compare notes, what we loved, which part we stayed in. I love that it's themed to different generations. And I'm like, which one will I be in? And loads of great photo spots there. Like, amazing hotel for like the facades. Yes, Berlin. I love the Santa Fe as well. Like, you are so right. It's really comfortable. Again, like the beds are comfortable. I've never had a problem with noise. Like, I just think it's a really great resort. And I think it's easy to kind of think that value resorts could be you're not getting like the full experience. But I think Disney do it really well. I've always been impressed with the value resorts. They've always been above what I thought they would be. And yeah, I totally think if you're going to be in the parks a lot, you could save a lot of money staying at the value resorts, and they're really, really great. Or someone like a solo traveler. Like something I like about Disneyland Paris is they do a single supplement, but unlike the US parks, in the US parks you have to buy the whole room. So if you're a solo traveler, you take the whole cost on yourself. If you shared with someone, you'd halve the cost, etc., etc. So it's very expensive to be solo in the US, but much more affordable in Disneyland Paris. But Mark, yes, you're so right. Newport Bay is good in Paris, but not as good as the beach club in Florida. And Disney advertised them as similar. Yeah, I think you're so right. Like the beach club is next level, and it very much feels like a hotel that if you were going to a beach resort destination, that would be it. Whereas, like you say, Disneyland Paris, Newport Bay at Disneyland Paris, it does feel more like a themed hotel. And I did really like it. I would say the rooms are smaller than somewhere like the Cheyenne. So it is interesting that even though it's considered a deluxe resort, the rooms are a bit tinier. So I would say if you're a family, it could be a bit of a tight squeeze in the Newport Bay. Whereas like the Cheyenne, it feels a bit more spacey. I don't know if that's also because the Cheyenne typically has a double bed and then a trundle. So you have like a sofa with the pull-out bed underneath. So you could have two people or make another double bed. And when that's not put up, you've got so much space in the room because you've got that second bed that's not there. But yeah, I would say the rooms are a little bit smaller in the Newport Bay. Yes, you're so right, Berlin. The buses would never fall at the Santa Fe. And I think that's a thing because the buses run quite frequently, and particularly when it's park opening or park closed, they put more buses on. I've never ever had to wait for a second bus. I've always managed to get on the bus. Sometimes they will be busy, but never miss a bus. You're 100% right. So I think that's such a great benefit. Like I say, staying on site at Disneyland Paris, you get the extra magic hours, you get your tickets included, you get the free transportation. If you don't want to get the transport, it's only a 15-minute walk maximum to any of the hotels. You get the characters dressed up and you're in that Disney bubble. And then you're getting these nice extras like coffee in the room, water provided for you. Like, I think it's really great. If you can do it, definitely do it. And like I say, sometimes there's not that much difference between staying off-site and on-site when you factor in ticket costs. So for Disneyland Paris, it can be definitely worthwhile. Hi Laurie, how are you doing? It's good to see you. But while we're talking about Disneyland Paris, we might as well just quickly run through the different resorts that are there. And you can let me know if you've stayed at any of them. But they have the two value resorts, which are the Cheyenne and the Santa Fe. The Santa Fe is Cars themed, and the Cheyenne is Toy Story Wild West themed. And again, loads of great photo spots at that hotel. That Wild West theming, you literally feel like you're on the set of a movie. It's literally incredible. You have only one moderate resort, which is the Sequoia Lodge. So this is quite a big resort. It has a swimming pool, which the value resorts don't have. It's also got one of the best pools at Disneyland Paris. I would say the rooms feel a little dated, and I don't know if that's just because it's kind of like the woodsy theme. So it's, for me, it's one of my least favourite of the themed hotels. But I would say in winter, that like lobby and you've got a fireplace going, stunning. Like you want to be in a lodge in winter, and it's perfect for that. Then you have the three deluxe hotels, which are the Newport Bay, which is all nautical themed. I really loved that in the room you have like it looks like, you know, one of those old style suitcases you would take on holiday, and it's kind of like that's a cabinet, and I really enjoy that. Of course, you've got the Art of Marvel hotel, super sleek, looks very like a New York high-end hotel, and of course Marvel absolutely everywhere. And the brand new, newly reopened Disneyland Hotel, all kind of like princess themed, really, really stunning. You've got that 5-star experience, and of course, you are over the entrance of Disneyland Paris. You couldn't be any closer. Some of the rooms have a view actually down Main Street. So, yeah, if you are looking for like a really special experience, I think that could be wonderful. And everyone I know that stayed there, they've said like it is really, really beautiful. So, yeah, if you're going, do let us know. So for Disneyland Paris, I've never put in a room request, and typically I find most of the rooms, like the resorts can be kind of big, but they're never unbearably big. So for me, I've always been like, I don't really mind where I stay. And I have stayed at rooms that are like right at the very edges of the resorts. Sometimes when it's like you've been in the park for 14 hours, you're like, oh, we've got to go all the way there. But it's never more than like a 5-minute walk from the reception to the room. Disney World, I have put in room requests before, and I've always had them honoured. I don't know if it's because I was lucky, and I typically visit in September, so it's a little bit quieter, so maybe they're easier to accommodate. But it's stuff like I stayed at Caribbean Beach Resort, and I requested like a corner room because you get 2 windows instead of just the one, so that was really nice. And when I stayed at Animal Kingdom Lodge, I requested a certain trail. I can't remember which one it was now, but I'd heard that was a good one to stay on, and that was honoured. So yeah, definitely, if there is somewhere particular you'd like, it's always worth trying. Like they can't always accommodate depending on how busy the resort is, stuff like that. But it's definitely worthwhile. And I think for you used to be able to kind of fax a request for Disney World rooms. I think that doesn't exist anymore. And I think I went via the app and used the chat and did it that way, and that worked fine. So it's definitely worth it if there's a particular part you would like to stay in, or a particular building, something like that. Yes, you're so right, Christina. The Cheyenne doesn't really feel like a value resort because the theming is so next level. Because I think it's supposed to be like the equivalent of a 3-star hotel, and I'm like, it feels so much more than that. Like it's really amazing. Yes, Berlin. I think you should absolutely try the Cheyenne one time because it's so much fun. And yeah, the Toy Story thing is next level. And then the Marvel one. Like you say, if you can get a good deal, I think it's the dream. Like it looks so cool. And also getting to have that private superhero meet and greet, and they change the characters quite frequently. So you can, during the course of your stay, meet quite a lot of them. I think that's amazing. I haven't put a request in for Pop Century. I'm not staying there till next November. But again, if you use the chat feature on the app or on the Disney World website, you could talk to a cast member. So if there's like maybe a particular building, or like area of the resort you prefer to stay in, then you can always ask that, or like a certain floor, like lower floor or the top floor, whatever it is, you can put it in, and then if they're able to accommodate it, then they will. But yes, Pop Century, because I haven't stayed yet, I don't know what's the best. I don't know the layout of like which buildings have like the most benefits. I feel like obviously you can upgrade to preferred rooms, which are the rooms that are closest to the lobby. But outside of that, I don't know which buildings are best. So if anyone has stayed at Pop Century, do let us know where you stayed, what area you were in, what you think about it, where you would recommend. Because yeah, I'd love to know that too. I have no idea. Hi Guy, lovely to see you. Thank you so much for joining us. And yes, it's so lovely hearing about all of your trips. It's so exciting. Sharon, you'd love to stay in the Disneyland Hotel, but you stay from park opening to park close, so it wouldn't be worth the money for me. This is something that I wanted to touch upon 100% in the this live stream, because one of the things I think you need to consider is how much you're going to be in the room. Because I found when I went to Disney World, what I did is I did 14 nights in All Stars because I knew I was going to be in the parks loads, and it was perfect for what I needed. And then I did 2 nights at Animal Kingdom Lodge, but I just stayed in the resort for all 3 days, didn't do anything. And that was really nice because you got to try all the restaurants, experience everything on offer. But I do distinctly remember thinking at the time, because of how much the price difference was, if I was going to be here for 14 nights just going to the parks, I probably wouldn't pay to upgrade. I do think they are beautiful resorts. So if you really, really love the theming, it can be good. Or certain resorts, say you stay on a monorail resort, because you've got such easy access to Magic Kingdom and Epcot, that can be worthwhile. But if you are going to be out a lot, sometimes the upgrades aren't always worth it. So I think it just depends on how you visit and your budget. Because if there's a resort you really want to stay at and you can afford it, that's absolutely what you should do. But if you're thinking about, can I stretch it, you know, maybe we have to really scrimp and save to upgrade, and you're going to be in the parks a lot, it's not always worthwhile, I don't think. So, especially because there's free transportation and stuff like that. And like places like Disneyland Paris, we were so close to everything. Like, you don't really need it. But later on, we will touch upon Disneyland in California, because I think that's very different to the other 2 resorts that we're talking about, which is very interesting. So Lisa, we've got some Pop Century tea. Thank you so much. We were told by a cast member that you should request be close to transportation. That is a fantastic tip, because some of the resorts that are big, it can be quite a walk to and from the bus stop. And in the morning, that's not so bad. Park close, it's not so much fun. Your feet are like, I can't make it. So that is a really, really good top tip. So thank you so much, Lisa. Yes, Berlin, that's another great thing to request, a quiet room. If you are kind of maybe just on an adult trip and you're wanting a bit more quiet, that can be really, really good. They can try and accommodate that, which is really nice. So yeah, they do, if they have the availability, they will absolutely always try and honour requests. So it's always worth putting them in if you can. Oh, and also, if we're staying at Pop, the 50s or 60s buildings are some of the best to request. Lisa's got all the information. This is fantastic. So thank you so much for sharing, because it's so nice to hear people's personal experiences and then we all learn from it. So I'm going to make a note of this, because I'm going to be needing all this information. Yes, Laura, you're so right. The deluxe resorts are definitely going there for, this is my vacation and I'm going to relax and enjoy myself. And you're so right, with the late park opening, it can be really good, because in the daytime you can have that relaxation, enjoy everything the resort's got on offer, because you know you're going to have those 3 hours in the park where you can get so much done, far fewer crowds, and that can be a really good benefit. So whilst we're talking about Disney World, we might as well jump over to talk about Disney World. Oh, Christina's got a good question. Disney World, if you decide to stay in more than one hotel, would that affect your Disney dining plan? This is a great question, and yes, it would. And it's simply because the dining plan is linked to your tickets. So when you, to qualify for the dining plan, you have to buy your hotel and tickets in one package. So if you then switched, you'd only get the dining plan for the hotel that you bought as part of the package. So say you stayed a week there and switched to another one, you'd only get a week of the dining plan. So that is one catch to the dining plan. So I would say, to get the most out of the dining plan, probably just stay in one resort, because you do miss out otherwise, which is such a shame because obviously your tickets may be 14-day tickets, but it's the package that has to be part of to get the deal, which is such a shame. I love this. Lisa's like a pro on Pop Century. She's done her research. It's fantastic. But yeah, some of the benefits I think to staying on site at Disney World is, of course, you get 30-minute early entry. It's not a massive amount of time, but the thing is, you'll be able to walk, get to those big rides, and get on them before everyone else. So the rides that get the big queues, you can have the advantage with this 30 minutes, which is fantastic. Like Laurie said, if you're staying at a deluxe resort, you also get those extra evening hours. So twice a week, one night it is Epcot, one night is Magic Kingdom. You get to go into the park and it's only deluxe guests. 3 hours, so many things you can get done during that time, which is fantastic. Something that I really, really love about staying on site is that you can book your dining 60 days in advance like everyone else, but you can book 10 days of your stay at that time. So if you're going to be eating in a lot of table service restaurants, this is such a big benefit because all of those restaurants that the reservations go like that, you're going to be able to get them because you can look at dates further in the future than anyone else has access to. So that's such a big benefit. You obviously have the free transportation, so all of the hotels will have free buses, and then the higher quality the hotel, the more transportation links. So of course, if you're staying at the deluxe resorts, most of them will have something like the monorail or be on the boardwalk, so you can kind of easily walk or get the boat to Hollywood Studios and Epcot. The only caveat to that is Animal Kingdom Lodge, which only has a bus, but it's the cheapest resort because of that, so the price does reflect that difference. But that's one of the things we were saying earlier. Pop Century is a fantastic value resort because you get that secondary transportation with the Skyliner. I also like that Disney World do offers. So Disney World, you don't get your park tickets included as part of a package like you do in Disneyland Paris, but then they will do offers. So sometimes the year it's kind of you get certain amount of free nights. Of course, the big offer that's just come out is the dining plan for 2025. So value resorts, you get 1 quick service meal a day. If you stay at a moderate resort, you get 2 quick service meals a day, 1 snack and a resort refillable mug. And if you stay at a deluxe resort, you're going to be getting 1 quick service, 1 table service, 1 snack and a refillable mug. So that can really help keep the costs down because you're taking away your dining costs, or at least having something put towards them if you're staying at a value resort. And the Disney bubble. Disney World is massive. It's larger than the city of Manchester, which is just wild. So even when you stay on site, you have to use transportation to get around. But of course, Disney provide that for free. If you stay off site, you will always need transportation. Some off-site hotels do offer shuttles. Sometimes it can be quite limited times. So you might be better using Uber or Lyft, maybe even hiring a car. But of course, you need to factor in those costs because they will all quickly add up. I think parking is about $26 a day. I know Universal's over $30 a day now. So the parking can be very expensive. Some of the off-site hotels, you'll also have to pay for parking at the hotel. Resort fees is a big thing. So Disney World, you get free parking in the parks and at the resorts if you are staying there. And you also don't have any resort fees. Whereas those are things you need to consider when staying off-site. So again, when it comes to Orlando, I would say do price up both, because sometimes if you stay off-site, you get a really great hotel deal, but then you've got to pay resort fees, you've got to pay transportation fees, you've got to pay for your tickets, and then suddenly it's not working out that much difference if you stay on-site or off-site. So always compare the two, because sometimes you could be surprised. It's not as expensive to stay at Disney as you would imagine. Oh, so Guy's telling us, I'm very excited about Guy's trip. It's literally incredible. But this is going to be his first trip in 24 years. And I have been working with Guy. He's been using my concierge service. And I get so excited because I know what is in store for Guy and his lovely daughter. And I just can't wait for them to go and have the best time. And it's been such a pleasure being able to kind of help and give tips and advice and come up with an itinerary of everything they'd like to do. And it literally is incredible. And it's so nice, like you were saying, Guy, because your daughter has allergies, it's quite helpful because sometimes it's easier for her to have things that are dairy free. So the vegan option can be easier. So it's so nice that I can kind of recommend this is actually a really great place to eat. This one's not so great. This is where you get the snacks. So that's really, really, really handy. And it's been amazing. Like, I'm so excited because it's so close now and it's literally like a dream trip. I can't wait. Oh, Jill has just upgraded to French Quarter. French Quarter is like my ultimate, like, I need to stay at moderate resort at Disney World. The theming looks beautiful. I love that you've got Riverside and French Quarter. Riverside, slightly bigger, a bit more family friendly. French Quarter, a bit more intimate, a bit more adult orientated. So I love that even though it's similar theming, you kind of are targeting different audiences, which I think is fantastic. You also have the little boat journey to Disney Springs, which looks so relaxing and it just looks stunning. I also love, originally I was meant to stay there instead of Animal Kingdom Lodge, and I'd booked to stay in one of the royal suites. And that is a room. If you are looking for Disney theming, you want Disney to have thrown up on your room, get one of those rooms. They are incredible. The royal rooms at Port Orleans, next level. So that's like a bucket list. Have to be doing that. Guys, only 25 days now. 25 days to your trip. It's going to be so exciting. If anyone else has a countdown, do let us know because I love hearing it. And yes, Guy, we had so much fun. So with Guy using the concierge service, we started out doing like a Zoom call to kind of see like what sort of trip would you like, what are your must-dos, what are there any like special experiences or restaurants you'd like to do, and then we kind of formulated a itinerary so that you can go, this is how we're gonna get the most out of everything. And it's just really, really nice to be able to pass on the tips and advice, because I know something we've talked about is when you're going, you haven't been for a while, where it's so different now, where you have to use your phone a lot, you've got to book lightning lane reservations and dining reservations, all of this stuff, it can feel quite stressful. And I know even for me, the first time you were using Genie Plus or something like that, it is nerve-wracking because until you physically do it in person, you don't know what it's going to be like. And I have to say, the good thing is I've found them much simpler to use than I anticipated, which is really, really, really good. But it's really nice to be able to kind of pass on information and kind of reassure people it's going to be okay. It's not as complex as it seems, and this is the way you can kind of use it to get the most out of it. And then I also booked all of Guy's dining reservations, which is fun. Like for me, that's like my Olympics. I love it. I love the adrenaline rush. I love waiting for the clock to count down. Like it's crazy, but I also know how stressful it is, because it's that thing of you have to be ready to go right on the dot, which isn't always convenient with people's work schedules and what they're doing in their life. And you need to have a strategy in place. Like if you don't have the right strategy, you will very easily lose those reservations, because some of them will sell out very, very quickly. What I do have to say though, what was fantastic is when I was booking Guys Dining, I got to try out the new feature where you can now see 10 days at once. So when you say you want to go Monday, you can put in the date and the amount of people. You can choose the dining time, or you can just see all day. And what it will do now is show you every single restaurant and every single time that is available. And then when you look, you can also see, you can put like a time frame. So like from this date to this date, so up to 10 days at a time, which is fantastic. So that you no longer have to look for one day. If it doesn't have any times, scramble and be reloading and losing all of those precious seconds that are going to help you get the reservation. You don't have to do that anymore. So I absolutely loved it. It was like a pleasure, and it's such a great feature to them have upgraded to. Yes, Guy. Yeah, it's so nice that I'd messaged Guy to be like, just so you're aware, there's going to be a lot of emails coming into your box at the moment, because when you book the dining reservations, they send an email straight away with all of the details, and it was just like boom, 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 and I was like, it's going to be full. So just so you're aware, you're going to keep getting a ping. But it's nice to know once it's all done. But I really feel like it's such a benefit to stay on site. If you're going to be doing a lot of table service dining, because the reservations can be hard to get, if you can only book them exactly 60 days in advance, the people who are staying on site have had such an advantage because they've already been able to book them up 10 days before you. So it definitely is a consideration. And I know before I've kind of thought, oh, maybe I'll stay off site, but then I always come back to the dining, and it's a weird thing, but for me, it is like a big deciding factor of staying on site. But the interesting thing about Disney World, there's actually more than 30 hotels. Now, not all of them are your traditional hotels. You also have DVC properties, which is the Disney Vacation Club. It's kind of like timeshare, so people pay into it, they select a home resort, and depending on how much they pay, they then get a certain number of points they can use each year. What then happens is sometimes people, if they don't use their points, they will sell them on. So there are websites where you can go and purchase these points and stay at DVC properties. If you are looking to stay at a deluxe resort, it can be much cheaper with the DVC points. You will have to do stuff like buy tickets. You also won't get offers, so like the free dining plan, etc. But it is much cheaper to do that than pay for a deluxe resort otherwise. So that can be really good. It is worth noting some of the websites you can't do any cancellations. I think a few of them now are saying you can cancel or move your dates and they'll give you a voucher to use. So you won't get a refund, but you will be able to change the dates. So do be aware of that, because that's one of the things that's always put me off, especially because in the UK, you tend to book your Disney World trip so far in advance, you don't know what's going to happen in 15, 20 months' time. So it always feels a bit like iffy, and you do have to wait closer. You couldn't book them now. There's certain time windows that open up for people to use their points, but it can be a really fantastic way of staying at deluxe resort if you've ever thought about it. Even if you want to do just maybe 1 or 2 nights, that could be a really good option. Hi Emma! So I absolutely love the All-Star Resorts. I think they're so fun. I liked that they were big, but not unbearably big. I think it was maybe a 10-minute walk from my room to the lobby, and I was at one of the furthest away kind of parts of the resort. I stayed at All-Star Music, and I'm going there again this September. I thought the rooms were really, really nice. They've just been refurbished, so they feel very sleek. There's not loads of Disney theming. There's like some wall art in the rooms themselves. But I really like that you've got the bed and then you've now got the pull down, like the Murphy bed. Because if you don't need that, or in the daytime you just want a bit more space, you pull it up and you also, it turns into like a desk area, which is fantastic. And then you can pull it back down, but it gives you a bit more space. You get stuff like coffee machines in the All-Star Resort rooms. You get like a fridge, so you get loads of great amenities. You've got the free buses. I did eat at the restaurant as well and enjoyed all of the meals that I had there. So I think they're really, really good. And I think it just comes down to what theming you like. Sometimes movies can be a bit more expensive. Sometimes they're all the exact same price. Some people like staying at sports because on the bus route, that can be the first bus to kind of the first, hotel to pick up from. So also sports can have an edge, but I would say check out what's happening when you're at Disney World, because if they have cheer competitions and stuff like that, they will typically stay at All-Star Sports. So sometimes there could be a lot of cheer teams, which could be actually really fun because it feels like a very American experience. Sometimes you'll see them kind of practicing on the grounds, which is great, but it does mean that resort can be quite busy with big groups. But otherwise, I've heard a lot of people say sports is good because of the bus kind of route, which is fantastic. Hi, Stephen! It's so great to see you. Only 12 days to go. I am so excited for your trip. It's like literally a dream, and it's coming so close now. Less than 2 weeks. It's gonna be so good. And yeah, we had the best chat. It was so much fun, and I can't wait to hear about your trip. Like, I keep thinking about all the things we're gonna do, so it's been absolutely fantastic. Stephen, we had a lovely 90-minute Zoom call. We went through absolutely everything, and it's really great to kind of help plan out a strategy, because Disney is one of those trips where you kind of do have to have an idea in mind. You can go with the flow, but you won't always maximize what you can do, and you can waste a lot of time in queues and stuff like that. So something we really focused on is what is the best order to book things in. So like lightning lanes, virtual queues, Genie Plus reservations, and I think that's really, really helpful. So it was fantastic chatting about that, and I can't wait for your trip. It's so much fun. I'm so it's so exciting to me that Stephen and Guy are going very, very soon, and I get so much joy hearing about other people's trips. So I just can't wait for both of you. Jill, you haven't stayed, but you'd love to do music and pop. Yeah, I think they're really great resorts. And this is the thing, I genuinely do think that there are no bad Disney resorts, or at least I've never encountered any. Whether you're staying at value, moderate, or deluxes, they all seem really, really good. So I don't really think you can go wrong. I think it just depends on your budget. Maybe there's a certain theme you would like, or maybe there's a certain area, like maybe a park you want to be closer to, something like that. But I really don't think you can go wrong with anything, which is great. And yes, Jill, you're so right. The rooms at the value resorts have been recently renovated, so they do look really fresh. They're very sleek, very like they're practical. They're exactly what you need. I love that they kind of really think about like the beds have a lot of storage space underneath them, so you can shove your case out the way. You're not having to look at them, and like those little touches are fantastic. They also have massive TVs. That's a weird thing to mention, but I couldn't get over the size of the television. It was just absolutely huge. Lisa, this is a great question about the grocery delivery service to the resorts. A lot of people I know have used, oh gosh, what was it called? Instacart. A lot of people seem to recommend Instacart as a really good one, and then you can order and get things delivered from a supermarket, and the concierge, kind of like the bellhops, can store it for you. The only thing they won't take is alcohol, so just be aware of that. But otherwise, they can store it. It's $5 if they do store things for you, but then you can collect it. I think also stuff like DoorDash, a lot of people have started using that, and you can again get stuff from shops, you can get drinks, and I think it's such a big part, isn't it, because it's so much cheaper to buy via supermarkets. I know I always, when I have a car, I always go to Walmart at the beginning of the trip, and I think I got the smallest amount of water you could get was 24 bottles, but it was like $6. It was unbelievably cheap. Whereas in the parks, it's like $5 for one bottle. So it's definitely worth getting stuff in supermarkets, like drinks or even breakfast stuff, snacks, and you can really cut down your costs that way. Or Laurie has said when he went in January 2022, they were booked in all-star movies, and due to a cheer show, Disney moved you to pop because they'd overbooked. What a treat! That's amazing. And yeah, this does sometimes happen. Sometimes if they have overbooked, they will sprinkle some pixie dust and you will get moved, which is fantastic. And how awesome to go from an all-star resort to pop, and that must have been so fun. And it's a great way when you start your trip and you're like, actually, you've been upgraded, and you're like, oh, okay, this is so much fun. What a great start. So Guy has said, when using Instacart or DoorDash, should you do it when you land or the week before, or is it next day delivery? So I think you can, stuff like Instacart, I think you can select the time and the date you would like. So it could be worth ordering it so it arrives on your arrival day, and then when you get to the resort, you can just go to the bellhop service and they will be able to give that to you. What you can do is when you are ordering, because if you haven't arrived yet, you won't have a room number. What you can always do is, if there's any place to put notes or in the section that says like your name, you can always say like arriving guest. So like obviously put your name and then like a dash arriving guest and the date or something like that, so that Disney know to expect you. That can help. But I think DoorDash is kind of a bit like Uber Eats, stuff like that. So you could order it once you've arrived, and then it will tell you, like 40 minutes or an hour until it will come to you, whatever it is. So that could be a bit easier. Like no Instacart, I think you can choose the date that it's going to arrive. So you could always do that. So it's there when you check in. Oh, thank you so much, Lisa. I'm hoping that there are lots of tips and advice which is helpful. And yeah, I just love talking about the hotels because I do think it's probably one of the biggest decisions you make, because it's one of the most expensive elements of your trip. And it's also like we want to get the right resort for us. And again, I don't think there are any bad resorts, but there can definitely be factors to consider. So say you are a family and you need 5 beds, there's certain resorts that can accommodate that, certain ones that don't. Depending on the offer that's on at the time, that might make be a deciding factor as to which hotel to stay in, the proximity to certain parks. So there are things to consider, but I feel like anywhere you stay is going to have a good time. But I yeah, well, we might as well go over it. We've kind of talked about it, but at Disney World, again, you also have value, moderate, and deluxe resorts. You have the all-star resorts. There's 3 all-star resorts. There is movies, sports, and music. The theming is super cute. I loved. I was in the rock section. Absolutely loved it. We had the big guitars on the outside at All Star Music. So much fun. And they're all next to each other. So you could actually walk between all 3 if you wanted to. So, say you wanted to go to movies to get some of the photos there, you could absolutely do that. You also have Pop and Art of Animation as your other value resorts, and they both have Skyliner stations. If you're looking at moderate, you have somewhere like Coronado Springs. It looks very, very beautiful. I would say it's more adult in theme. It's not very child friendly, and it is a very, very big resort, so just be aware of that. But some really great dining there. Very, very cool looking pool. You also have Caribbean Beach Resort. This is one of my favorite Disney World resorts. It's so relaxing there. Like, when you come back from the parks and they've got a beach and there's a hammock that you can lay in, and it's like the sun setting, it's incredible. And there's some really great restaurants. Spyglass Grill is incredible food for quick service. Sebastian's Bistro, I think, is one of the best hidden gem restaurants in the whole of Disney World. Also has Skyliner. So it's very, very good. Again, it is kind of a bigger resort, but they do have buses that go to the different areas. So there is an internal bus as well as the bus to the parks. And of course, you've got the Skyliner. And then you have places like the Port Orleans hotels. So you get 2. Riverside is a bit bigger, more family friendly. French Quarter, more intimate, more adult. Both of them, you can get the boat to Disney Springs, which looks like such a relaxing little journey. And it just looks stunning, Port Orleans. You also have iconic things like Yeehaw Bob. So certain nights of the week, you have the iconic legendary entertainer Yeehaw Bob doing his show. Even if you aren't staying at Port Orleans, it's definitely worth visiting. So you can go and see him. You can also get beignets at this at the Port Orleans, and you can get allergy-friendly ones. So if you are vegan, dairy-free, stuff like that, you can also enjoy the beignets there. It's the only place you can get them if they're like the allergy version of the beignets. Definitely worth it. And then when you're coming onto the deluxe resorts, you've got Animal Kingdom Lodge with the incredible savannah. If you love animals, it's amazing to be able to see them. In the resort itself, there's tons and tons of viewing platforms. So if you want a savannah view room, they are quite a bit more. But if you don't worry. There's still loads of places you can go and view the animals. It's stunning. You can also walk to Kidani Village, which is a DVC property that is Animal Kingdom Lodge. They have Sanaa there, which is a legendary Disney restaurant. It's like a 10-minute walk, but they do also have a bus that pops over there. So yeah, if you're an animal lover, it's definitely worth it. I have to also say every single restaurant at Animal Kingdom Lodge is incredible. Like, you can't go wrong. I ate in every single restaurant when I was there. I had the best time. So good. You then also have the Boardwalk Resort. So you've got the Beach Club. You have the Yacht Club. Very, very nice theming. Like, very elevated. It feels like you are kind of at a beach resort, or maybe somewhere where you need a yacht. But that boardwalk area is also fantastic. Loads of entertainment, loads of restaurants. You can get boats to Epcot and Hollywood Studios, or you can walk because they're that close to the parks. So they're a really, really big benefit. And of course, you have the monorail resorts. And the monorail resorts are fantastic because you're that close to Magic Kingdom. And also the monorail does go to Epcot, so you've got that added benefit. Polynesian is like my dream Disney World resort. Absolutely iconic, stunning. Again, it has beaches, hammocks. The best thing though is when you're sitting in your little hammock, you can also see the castle, which is fantastic. You then have Grand Floridian Resort. Very, very nice. They've got the new kind of Mary Poppins rooms that are coming around. Looks very, very cute. For me, it feels a little bit like, it is very nice, but I think I prefer something like the Polynesian. It feels a little bit like visiting your nan's house. Like, I think it's beautiful, and it feels very Walt Disney. It feels very much of his sort of era, what they would like, but I'm a bit like, I think I like the Polynesian more. You then have the Contemporary Resort, a 5-minute walk to Magic Kingdom. Lots of the rooms have park view, fireworks view. incredible. I like that the monorail goes through the middle of it, which is fantastic. It is kind of one of those 70s brutalist looking kind of structures. I don't think it's the most beautiful looking building from the outside because I'm not really into that kind of architecture, but these incredible rooms that they've got now, where they are themed around the Incredibles, and you've got the park view, iconic, looks amazing. Wilderness Lodge, another one of my favourite resorts, absolutely stunning. Like, you literally feel like you're in a national park in a lodge. It's amazing, really beautiful. These resorts also have a boat to get to Magic Kingdom, so you've got multiple forms of transportation, which is fantastic. And yeah, they're just stunning. So do let us know if you've stayed at any of these resorts. So I would love to hear what your experiences have been like. Laurie has said if you're staying at Coronado Springs, you can get an Uber or a Lyft for a 5-minute ride to Flamingo Crossing, to the shopping centre that is heavily used by cast members. Yes, Flamingo Crossing. I feel like everyone has heard of Lake Buena Vista, but the other side of Disney, like the Animal Kingdom end, you have Flamingo Crossing. And like you're saying, there are shops there are restaurants there are hotels there, and that could be a really great option because it's kind of more up and coming, so sometimes the prices can be quite competitive. So yeah, like you say, Flamingo Crossing, you're close to Disney, so if you want to stay off site, Flamingo Crossing or Lake Buena Vista are going to be your two closest places, so definitely look into that. Oh, Lisa, you're so right. The Instacart delivery stuff would fill a whole video because, yeah, there's so many questions about how to use it, what to do. I've never actually done it myself just because I've always had a car for hire. Although my November trip, I'm not going to be hiring a car. So it'll be interesting to see. Maybe I'll use it then. But that's a very long time to wait for a video. So I will do some more investigation into this because I think it's so handy to know. Everyone kind of needs stuff from a supermarket at some point during their trip. So it'll be really good to know if you don't have a car, how do you go about that? So that would be perfect. Hi, David. Lovely to see you. Thank you for joining us. Hi, Stephen. Yes, a great topic for the chat would be off-season at the Disney hotels. Ooh, that's so true because Disney is kind of busy all year round now, but there are quieter times. So it's great to kind of talk about the off season and it, like you say, over the years it kind of has changed, and like you say, you're visiting in May, so it kind of is one of the lower season months. If you miss the very beginning because there's like a public holiday, and the very end, that middle section of May can be a really fantastic time to visit. And like you say, visiting off season, it's my personal favourite way to visit just because you have the lower prices, the lower crowds, which mean you get more done. So yeah, you're so right, Stephen. We should do more videos about kind of what can you expect like each month when you visit. So Emma has asked, can you meet characters in the hotels like Disneyland Paris? So I haven't seen, like, you do sometimes have pop-up character meet and greets. So you do sometimes randomly see characters at resorts. It tends to be more like the deluxe resorts. But there's no, to my knowledge, set meet and greet. So Disneyland Paris, they have signs up saying between like 11 and 1 p.m. you can meet Woody or whatever it is for each of the different hotels. As far as I'm aware, the Disney World resorts don't do that. But I have seen occasions where, you know, you will see characters at the hotels. So they do pop up, but it's less structured. But yes, Lisa, you're so right. The Polynesian resort looks like a dream. Those villas as well, those over the water villas, incredible. Like, can you imagine? And what's really great as well is if you stay at any of the monorail resorts, or if you're just visiting maybe for dinner, in the evening you have the electrical water pageant. So it's one of these like iconic old Disney things that they used to do. They've been doing it for decades and they still do it. It starts typically around 9 o'clock. It does change, so do check with the hotel, and obviously each hotel arrives at a different time, so it's staggered. But that could be something really, really fun to watch. You can also see the fireworks from the beaches, stuff like that. So really great to visit. And also, if you're just looking to have a look around, you absolutely can. Really amazing dining. So it's definitely worth having like a little look. And what I like is, because the monorail resorts particularly are so close to Magic Kingdom, if you want to have breakfast before going to the parks, you can go to the Polynesian and go to Kona Cafe or Ohana. If you're looking for an amazing dinner, you could go to California Grill and get a fireworks view over the park. So I always think some of the best restaurants are actually in the hotels, and never skip over them because they're typically very, very easy to get to. So yeah, don't miss out on them. Oh, no worries, Serena. I love that. Judith's going to look iconic with plaited hair, so that's perfect. And you stayed in the 90s section in Pop and was lovely and quiet. Walked around the car park to the buses and along the lake for the Skyliner. That's fantastic because, like you say, I think people. A really good tip of trying to stay close to transportation is perfect. But it's also good to know the best routes to get to like the bus or the Skyliner. So yeah, can't wait. I need to really look at a map because like I kind of know, like you said, there's like 50s, 60s, 70s, there's all different theming. But I haven't really looked at where they're based and like where are the bus stops. So I should probably look into that. Loz, oh my god, yes, Laura, you're 100% right. The contemporary resort does remind you of the Tricorn. So we are both from Portsmouth. I don't think, were you born in Portsmouth or did you just live here? But there used to be this massive car park. It also had like a marketplace, it had like a soft play area, but it was this ugly, brutalist 70s structure, and it was just that grey concrete. It was horrible. They did eventually tear it down, but I think they had to like jump through hoops because they were like, "But this is an icon. It's brutalist," and I'm like, "Stop saying that. We don't like it." But it does remind me of that 100%. It is very much the tricorn in Disney. But yeah, you're so right, Berlin. It's such a shame where you are a teacher and you're restricted to the school holidays. It's such a shame because you don't get the benefit of the off season, and I think it's so hard because it makes trips more expensive and busier. But what's great is if you visit when certain countries are on vacation, other ones aren't. So, say for Disney World, if you are a teacher or you have children, visiting the last 2 weeks of August can be fantastic because the US children tend to go back beginning, middle of August. So, it's much quieter then. So, you're quite lucky. That's like the one sweet spot. But it's very, very difficult when you're really restricted because, yeah, it's just such a shame that people kind of get penalised of having to visit certain times of the year and then they shoot the prices up and it's just crazy. Oh, you born in Portsmouth, moved to Germany and then back to. Where did you live in Germany? I have an obsession with Germany. I don't know if we picked up on that. I try and kind of keep it low key because I don't want people to think I'm crazy. But like, I think it's because I studied German in school. And so you kind of I've always felt this kinship towards Germany. I've been to Berlin a few times, but there's so many places I need to travel to. I would absolutely love to do like a little train trip all around. I'm desperate to go to Hamburg. So yeah, if anyone's got any tips where I should go and visit in Germany, do let me know. But yes, you're very. It's such a good point, Berlin, that in the US, their school holidays are very different times to ours, which is interesting. But it can also be interesting because something like spring break, where we kind of have Easter holidays, in the US, because it's so big, different states will go on spring break different times. So spring break lasts a very, very long time. So sometimes the holidays are really long. But when it comes to the summer holidays, we have the benefit of we go back later than they do. So those last 2 weeks of August are perfect to visit. It is very hot, but it's a quieter time of year. It's a cheaper time of year. When I was actually looking for 2025, I looked at August, September, November, and October. And August was actually the cheapest. I thought September would be, but August was actually the cheapest by it was over £300 cheaper than September, which I was surprised about. So it can be a really great time to visit. Yes, Lisa, you're from Germany as well. And yeah, I've been desperate. Like I know you mentioned that you were going to go and see Hercules, the musical, and I was like, don't harass her, don't harass her. But I've been constantly thinking, oh my god, I can't wait to hear what she thinks. Like, is it good? Is it not? So you will have to let us know. And I'm very excited. We are going to be meeting up at Roundup Rodeo Barbecue because we are there in September. And a few of us are all meeting up. So if you are going to be in Disney World in September, do come and join us because it's going to be so much fun. Berlin, you've been to Cologne, Frankfurt, Munich, and Berlin. Yes, I remember your epic trip. It sounded amazing. And it's so handy being able to use the trains. Amazing cities, Cologne a little bit underwhelming. Yeah, it's interesting, isn't it, to kind of see. It's nice to visit them all and then get an experience, and then you can go, this one I'd go to again, this one I wouldn't recommend, or like you only need like 2 days here, so it's always handy to know people's tips. And Lisa, yes, Hamburg's the best city. Oh yes, I absolutely I need to go. I'm desperate to go. I'm desperate to go. I also think it's funny. I'm not a massive Beatles fan, but I love that there's the Beatles statue, and the Beatles have played Hamburg more than anywhere else. They kind of launched their career there. I think they've played well over 200 gigs there, which is incredible. So if you're a Beatles fan, you definitely need to go out to Hamburg. Everyone kind of goes to Liverpool, but it's kind of like the kind of unofficial second home, or like the place where the Beatles really launched was Hamburg. But interestingly, as a side, now we're talking about the Beatles. I don't know if you know, but Disney World was actually where John Lennon signed the papers to split up the Beatles. So a little bit of history linked to the Beatles as well. Oh, Laurie's in a military brace. That's really interesting. And the military base is now an airport. This is very interesting. Hi, Ashley. How are you doing? It's so nice to see you. It was very, very fun. I was on a trip to Disneyland Paris, and at the same time, Ashley had come all the way over from the US, and I was leaving Manhattan Restaurant, and we happened to bump into each other as soon as Ashley arrived. And it was such a highlight of my trip. I always love when I get to meet you guys in person. So that was so nice. It was so fun. Oh, Lisa, okay, she's got the tea about Hercules. I've been very excited about this. So it's okay. It's such a shame, isn't it, when you've got such high expectations and you're like, oh, it didn't quite meet what it could have done. So they changed up the German lyrics, which threw you off. That's really interesting. That's very interesting they changed the lyrics. I wonder why they've done that. Because the thing that you love is you know the lyrics, right? And like obviously in the theatre you don't sing along, but in your head everyone is. So it must really, really throw you off when it's just like, well, what's this? What's this? What is this song? This is not from Hercules. But visually awesome. Yeah, so yeah, I kind of hope that they do transfer it and have a version in the UK. I'd love to see it. But I kind of love as well that they did the premiere in Germany. I think it's really interesting that they're like, let's not do what we always do with the kind of Broadway and the West End, because there is a lot of shows you can see in Germany. I know, is Lion King still in Hamburg as well? Because that's one of my favourite. It's absolutely incredible. Like, it's one of those shows that I love it, but I will cry for 3 hours solid. So I'm like, can I go and see this? Will I have a nervous breakdown? We don't know. Anything could happen, but for certain I'm crying. But yes, Stu, it's such an interesting little fact, isn't it? That the Beatles officially split up in Disney World, which is wild. But yes, that's so interesting, Lisa. Yeah, maybe because the licensing, they had to switch up some of the lyrics. You're so true. There's so many things that go on behind the scenes that we have no idea about. But it must be very confusing because you're expected to hear one thing and you're like, whoa, what's this? Yes, Lion King is still running in Hamburg and it's awesome. And this is a weird thing. Like, I did German in school and it's one of those things that I can, if I hear German or read it, I can kind of still get along with it. I find it very, very hard to have a conversation now. Like, the spoken German is awful now. But I do like going on YouTube and watching videos of musicals in German. So like I've been doing Hamilton, just working my way through the musical. So it's perfect. Yes, actually you're so right. It was the Polynesian resort that it's such a beautiful setting. John Lennon was like, we don't need the Beatles anymore. Right, the Polynesian guys, it's so nice. So it's one of those weird little interesting facts, but I think it's so much fun. Well, okay, this is blasphemy. Hades wasn't sassy. That's crazy, because that is Hades. You need that. So that's quite shocking. They're going to have to change that. That's unacceptable. You've changed too much. They've gone too far with it. I'm just looking at my little notes. I have got some little papers here, like a newsreader. Like, okay. Do newsreaders still have papers, or do they have like an iPad now? I feel like it's very old school to have paper. No one uses paper, do they? But I will reuse this. I will be putting other notes on the back and then recycling. It does feel bad to be using paper. Okay, let's have a little look. What other benefits do we have? Well, maybe we should quickly touch upon Disneyland, because as I said earlier, Disneyland's quite different, I think, compared to Disney World and Disneyland Paris, because there's only 3 resorts. There are a few DVC buildings now as well, but they are all deluxe, and the only real benefit you get is 30-minute early entry. So it's not like Disneyland Paris where your tickets are included, and it's not like you have loads of free transportation, because they are close to the parks. They are within walking distance. However, because Disneyland is right in the heart of Anaheim, it's right in a city, there are hotels every single part all around. So because there are so many hotels on offer, it's very competitive with pricing. There's also lots of different types of hotels. So if you have a big group, you can get rooms that accommodate that. And I would say the pricing between off-site and on-site is very different. So I stayed at the Anaheim Hotel, which was like a 5-minute walk to Disney. It was actually closer to walk than if you stayed at the Disneyland Hotel, or even if you stayed at Pixar Pier. Both of those hotels were a longer walk than the hotel I stayed in. I paid it was about £930 for 6 nights, and the cheapest equivalent Disney hotel was going to cost me £6,000. So when it's like the difference between on-site and off-site, in Disneyland, it is significantly more expensive to stay on-site. So you do have the beautiful theming. If you stay at the Grand California, you do also have a private entrance into Disney California Adventure. But for 6 times the price of staying off-site, I was like, I don't think I can justify it. Well, not just I can't justify it, I don't have a spare £6,000 to spend, so it wasn't going to happen. But it was very interesting to me. I went to the Disneyland Hotel on my first day so I could go to Goofy's Kitchen for breakfast, which is a character dining meal, and it was actually a longer walk from the Disneyland Hotel to the gates of the parks than from my hotel, which I was shocked about. The one good thing is there is a monorail. So if you stay at the Disneyland Hotel, you walk into downtown Disney a little bit and there's a monorail stop. You do have to have park tickets because the monorail stops inside Disneyland Park in Tomorrowland. But that can kind of be helpful if you're staying at the Disneyland Hotel, because you can just pop on the monorail, saves you that little walk. But yeah, the theming is amazing. We went to the Grand California and I went with Dawn and Connie. I went when it was Christmas. Oh my god, let me tell you how stunning it was. You had the massive tree, the gingerbread houses, exactly what you want from a Disney hotel at Christmas, and it was beautiful. So that is a really great hotel. It is the most expensive because it is the closest to the parks, and of course you have that private entrance into DCA. But I personally think you get much better value and much more benefits actually staying off-site, because 30-minute early entry is fine, but it's not great. You're not going to get a lot done. And seeing as that's the only benefit, I wouldn't really recommend staying on site. If you have the money and it's like a dream, definitely do it. But considering it's like 6 times more, it's probably not worth it. And because there are literally hundreds of hotels, it's perfect. I stayed on what's called Harbour Boulevard, and this is the road that runs right in front of Disney Resort. So there are tons and tons and tons of hotels. I think within the space, like I say, my hotel was maybe a 5-minute walk to the entrance. There's probably about 6 or 7 hotels that were in that range. So you've got loads of hotels that are really, really quick. Some hotels do have a shuttle if they're a bit further out. There's also something called the Art Bus, which is a local bus that stops at a lot of the hotels and the parks. So if you do stay a bit further afield, there are options, but I loved being a 5-minute walk away, and it meant in the daytime I could go back and have a little rest, especially with the jet lag, because it's obviously a much bigger time difference. But I absolutely loved it, and I do think it's interesting that because it's right in the city, you get so many off-site options that are in such close proximity. So it gives you so much choice as a consumer, which is fantastic. Yes, 100%. I need to come to the south part of Germany. Black Forest looks literally incredible. I have been watching so many videos about Europa Park because obviously they've just had Voltron, the new coaster, launched. Looks absolutely incredible, and it looks like such an amazing theme park. I always want to go to Phantasialand, so there's loads of things to come and explore, and the hotels look amazing as well. Like the theming, the packages you can do are really great value. So there's so much more I need to come and explore. So I need to do a big German, like, little tour. It'll be amazing. Yes, Berlin, I absolutely know. If we're going to come to Germany, it'll be fantastic. And yeah, you're desperate to visit again. And yeah, we should all come and do a German meetup. That would be so much fun. That would be so good. Guy said he absolutely loved the Disneyland vlogs and made us want to look at that as an option. great value with the hotels, and like you say, it's not worth staying within the bubble when it's that much more, which is so true. And like, they are beautiful rooms and resorts, but if you're in the parks for a lot of the day, is it worth the extra £6,000? Probably not. And yeah, Laurie, you're 100% right. Anaheim is so nice. It felt like very, very chill as a city. It was really, really beautiful. Like, if you're also planning to do a trip to LA at the same time, it's like a 45-minute to an hour journey, depending, the LA traffic is famous. If you go in rush hour, it could be much more. But it's perfect. I once did a trip for my 30th birthday, actually. I went from Las Vegas to LA and then to Anaheim. And it was great. It was actually really easy to plan and book. Did everything kind of separately. We did like a fly drive with BA. So that included our car hire, and then just booked all the hotels individually. So it was really, really simple. But doing a split stay when you go to Anaheim can be fantastic, because then you get to experience LA. Maybe you want to go to San Diego or some of the beaches. And is an amazing holiday. And of course, if you go to LA, you've got Universal Studios. Also in the area, you've got Six Flags Magic Mountain, you've got Knott's Berry Farm. So there's loads of theme parks if you love theme parks. And yeah, I think it's a dream destination. And like, Disneyland is just so special. Like, you really feel that history, and the fact that it was Walt's park and he walked the streets there, and everything has his touch, and there's so much packed into Disneyland Park itself. Like, the Fantasyland there, I've never ever experienced one so packed. And there's so many rides unique just to Disneyland. I can't tell you how much I loved it. It's like absolutely obsessed. So if you ever have the chance, definitely take a trip, because it is really magical. Oh, here we go. Yes, Ashley, you're so right. Staying on harbour opposite the entrance is the best, and I totally agree, because there's so many hotels so close, and they're all quite affordable as well. It's not like of course you can get cheaper hotels the further out you go, but they're not. I didn't feel like any of them were like ridiculously overpriced. I thought they were all really good, and the fact you're that close is just amazing. And like, I know when I was walking back to my hotel, there was like a little shop, so I could go and buy drinks and stuff for the room. Something I also did is, I think one of the difficulties with Anaheim is getting to Anaheim from the airport. If you're traveling internationally, it's most likely going to be LAX. And I used Diamond Driver Guy. And one of the things they did is they stopped at the a supermarket. So they said, do you want to go to Walmart? Do you want to go to Target? And they will stop at whichever one you prefer. And I went in and got like drinks for the room, stuff like that. And it was perfect, because in Anaheim, you obviously don't need a car. When I did my road trip where I did Las Vegas, LA and Anaheim, I did have a car at that time. This trip I didn't, so having a taxi from the airport that stopped at a supermarket was perfect. So good. Yes, Lisa, I'm so glad that Fantasyland is your favourite. It looks incredible. So I'm like, I need to come and do all these parks because they look awesome. Laurie stayed at the Clarion Hotel, which is opposite the Disney car park, and caught the bus. And it was only a 15-minute walk away. And something that a lot of people do is, I think it's called Catella. I think that's the road. Ashley will know this. There is a road that one of the Disney car parks is located in. And if you're staying in one of those hotels, you can actually walk into the car park and get the car park shuttle. So that's also like a top tip. But like you say, Laurie, there's loads of buses. I can't remember which hotel I stayed in when I went for my 30th birthday, but it was a bit further out, and we just got the art bus. And it was like you say, it was like maybe a 10-minute bus journey. So that was really handy. So there's so many hotels in Anaheim, which is perfect. Yes, Mark has mentioned going to Efteling. This is another one that I haven't been. I've been watching Serena, who just did a vlog series all about Efteling, and it looks so whimsical and magical, and I need to go. And again, it seems really affordable. So yeah, anywhere else you would like me to visit, do let me know, because I'm always looking for suggestions, because there's so many awesome places out there. Oh my gosh, yes. Lisa's saying a Germany meetup sounds great. Let's go to Fantasyland. Yes, we should do this. We should do Fantasyland. We should do Europa Park. We'll do like an international tour of theme parks. That would be amazing. And yes, Berlin, you'd like to go to you love Efteling, but you'd like to stay in one of the hotels. Yeah, they looked so nice. So yeah, I saw Sound for God did a great series where there was a room that was kind of Snow White-ish. in one of the hotels, and it looked amazing. So that was so good. So yes, actually, the Toy Story parking lot, if you're staying in one of the hotels that's near it, you can walk to there and anyone can get the little shuttle. So yeah, it's so handy, isn't it? That's such a great little tip. And I have heard though that there's a big development potentially coming to Disneyland. So they've kind of at the very last stages, I think on the 9th of May is the final meeting, and it's going to be like a $1.9 billion extension. There's going to be like there's going to be new, I don't know if it's going to be a whole park, but there's definitely going to be rides, there's going to be hotels, shops, entertainment. But one of the things is that the Toy Story parking lot will become part of that, and then I assume they're going to put that somewhere else, and because they have shuttles, they can get people to the park. But potentially, there's going to be this massive expansion at Disneyland, which will be interesting because again, where it's in the heart of a city, they can't really expand. So using land that they already own is like a really good option. But yes, actually, you stayed at the Disneyland Hotel. How incredible. And you absolutely loved it, but only for a very special occasion. Yeah, I could totally get that because it's beautiful. Like, when I went to Goofy Kitchen, I was like, I'm going to have a lovely look around. And that swimming pool where you have the iconic old Disneyland sign with the monorail, incredible. It's so good. And like there was an amazing like castle artwork in the lobby, like, and the rooms with the headboard with the fireworks, like literally amazing. And like you say, if you have a special occasion, it's so perfect. Oh my gosh, yes, Mark. Most magical group trip to Efteling in 2025. We should definitely look into doing things like this because I think it would be so much fun. And I always love getting to meet you all in person. It's so nice to finally get to meet face to face or even on Zoom. It's so nice to be able to talk in real time. So yeah, we should definitely do this. And I'm so looking forward to the September meetup. And I'm sure it's going to be like, okay, we need to do meetups all the time now. It's just going to be so much fun. But let me have a little look at my newsreader notes. And oh yeah, we did have some questions. Let's see how because some of these I think are really handy questions. So someone asked, how frequent are the buses? They actually are specifically about Animal Kingdom Lodge, but I think this kind of applies everywhere at Disney World. So they're listed to be about every 20 minutes. I think sometimes they do arrive a bit quicker than that. Sometimes maybe it's a bit later, but it's on average about 20 minutes. I feel like park opening and park close, they put more buses on so that they can get people there quicker, which is so handy. And they also have at the bus stops, they will tell you like, next bus 5 minutes or whatever it is. So you're always aware, which is really, really nice. And the hotels tend to, the bus stops, so the closest bus stops are like the deluxe resorts, then the moderate resorts, the value resorts, will be more towards the end. And yeah, but it's really convenient that you get these buses. They go to all the different parks. And it's really great if you want to go to, say you're in Animal Kingdom and you want to go to Sanaa or someone like that because they are amazing dining and you have to get the bread service 100%. 5-minute bus ride from the park and then you're at that hotel. So definitely try and go to some of these hotel restaurants because they are fantastic and they're really easy to get to, which is nice to know. But Jason asked, how far in advance does Disney let you know if they have planned works? Which I think is such a good point. Now, I would say that particularly Disney World and even Disneyland Paris, they will let you know kind of maybe the next year and a half, 2 years. So they will know a long way out, we're going to do this work. And when you're booking say you go to, I think he talked specifically about French Quarter, so Port Orleans French Quarter. When you get to that booking page, there will be a little thing that will be at the top of the page saying, pool renovation between January and April 2024 or whatever it is. So they will let you know. I think because they know so far in advance, you wouldn't likely be caught out. But I do feel like if for whatever reason it was something like, okay, the pool's going to be closed or the restaurant, or whatever it is, something like a key part, if you weren't informed in advance of booking, if you phoned them, they may be able to switch you to a different resort, something like that, because something that could really impact your stay, if it's a big part of why you booked that resort, they'll want to make sure that you're not missing out. So that's really, really good to know. Oh, I love that we're all up for doing a little trip. We're going to have to do like Efteling, we're going to have to do Fantasyland, Europa Park. It's going to be amazing. We can do like a European tour of theme parks. I've also never been to Tivoli Gardens. iconic, one of the inspirations for Disneyland. So yeah, loads of places we need to go and visit. I think it's going to be awesome. And Sam also said, do you think the Disneyland Paris prices will increase before November? And I think this is a really interesting question. And I think you can apply it to all of the parks. The theme park hotels, just the hotels in general, the prices fluctuate depending on the season. So at Disney, I feel like things do increase every year. I would say the things that can catch you out more are things like dining. And often what will happen is Disney don't say, on the 15th of March, prices are going to go up. They literally overnight go up. And then suddenly people go, and if you're there at the time, it's such a stressor because all of a sudden everything's like $1 or $2 more expensive. But over the course of your trip, that can add up. I know Disneyland Paris do this as well. They kind of just overnight, the prices go up. I would say every year this tends to happen. So if you've got a trip coming up at the end of this year or next year, most likely some of the prices will increase. Or sometimes the price will stay the same, but so Disneyland Paris, like a quick service restaurant, the price may stay the same, but you don't get a side with your meal anymore or something like that. So there can be changes to be aware of. But I would say with the hotels, I'm sure they do increase each year. But because there's such a variety of, every week is a different price, depending on what time of the year you're going to visit, it can be hard to kind of know. But if you tend to go the same time each year, you will obviously see a bit of an increase because you'll go, well, this same trip last year wasn't that much. So I would presume we are going to see more increases. I don't think the hotel one, it's more like sneakily slides in, whereas obviously with the dining, it's very apparent. It just happens overnight, like magic, but not magic because it's not fun. It's no good. But no, does anyone have any questions? I think we've covered all of the questions. And yeah, I'm very excited to hear everyone's trips. It's just so nice to see what hotels people are going to be staying in, which hotels people love, all of your top tips of where to be staying whilst we're at Pop. I love that everyone's going to Pop. I just think it's that sweet spot for a Value Resort. And the theming looks so much fun. And it's one of those things that I'm like, you should probably stay in an area of the resort, like you say, that is closer to transportation. But I'm like, kind of love the idea of being 80s, 90s, just because that's kind of like my era. That'd be fun. But absolutely love it. And the thing that I think has actually been really nice during our chat is no one has had any bad experiences. No one's been like, I stayed at this resort and it was absolutely terrible, I would never recommend it, which I think is really, really good. And like I say, I think Disney resorts that you can't go wrong, all of them are amazing. I think offsite, something I always do is check different websites to see reviews. And I think, sometimes you'll see a review and it could be something like someone complains about something, but it's a one-time situation that would be unique to them. So you can understand why it impacted them, but it's not something that you would need to worry about for your visit. If you see a lot of reviews though where it's like the rooms were terrible, it felt unsafe, then I probably won't stay there. But I am a big fan of looking at review websites before booking anything. And yeah, I do feel like if you stay offsite, Disneyland Paris, lots of great hotels in that area. Disney World, Flamingo Crossing, as Laurie was saying, is a really good option now. Lake Buena Vista is really nice. A lot of people will stay on International Drive because it's kind of between Disney and Universal. It's very iconic for Orlando. Everyone knows International Drive. Lots of dining, entertainment on International Drive. I would say it feels like a tourist resort because, it is a tourist resort. So it does have that kind of vibe to it. And I think a lot of the hotels have been there for quite a long time. Some of them can feel a bit dated. But if you're looking to be able to have a base where you're kind of in between everything, International Drive can be good. I have stayed there, but a long time ago. And I prefer to stay kind of Lake Buena Vista if I'm going to stay off-site. But I did kind of look at Flamingo Crossing as well. However, something we should maybe touch upon is Universal as well. Universal can be a really good option. In November 2024, I'm actually going to do a split stay between Disney and Universal. I did that in 2022 as well. The Universal hotels are much cheaper than the Disney hotels. So that can be something to consider because if you're still wanting to have a theme park experience where you're staying on site, Universal can be good but budget friendly. You're going to have 3 new hotels opening at Universal next year. You've got 2 Value Plus resorts, which are kind of like the level up from Endless to Summer. And then you're going to have this brand new Helios Grand Hotel, which is going to be inside Epic Universe, the first Universal hotel in Orlando to actually be inside a park. Looks incredible. But again, by moving to Universal, I've saved over £1,000 versus staying on site at Disney. So you don't get stuff like the free dining plan, but it's so much cheaper to stay there that sometimes, because you're saving so much, even if you have to get transport to Disney or pay for food, it can still work out cheaper. So a split stay can be really good if you're wanting to do both. And something that I really like is the Premier hotels, which are their deluxe hotels. You get the express pass. So every day that you visit, you will get an express pass. So if you only do one night, you get 2 days of express pass, both your check-in and check-out day. And that's for everyone in your room. So if you have 4 people in your room, you're getting 4 express passes for every single day of your stay, which is literally incredible and can make it a really, really good value. Express pass can be over $350 at Universal, depending on the time of year you're visiting, which is wild. So the fact that you're getting that included, it'll be really interesting to see what's going to happen with Helios. There's lots of like rumors flying around that if you stay there, you'll get express pass for Epic Universe, and the other hotels will just be for Islands of Adventure and Universal Studios. So yeah, I can't wait to hear more details. We've started to see the pricing and the kind of concept art for the 2 new hotels. I think it's Terra Nova and Stella. I don't know, Stella something. Laurie will know this. Laurie is a travel agent, travel expert, and yeah, it's definitely Terra Nova and Terra Luna and Stella Nova. Could be drag queens. Love that it could be a drag queen as well. That's awesome. Yes, you're so right, Laurie. The good thing with Disney is that they under-promise and over-deliver, and I think that's so true, particularly with the resorts, because as we've said, the value resorts are really nice. And I was kind of expecting, particularly like Disney World, I thought they'd be more like motel style rooms. But the decor's really great. They have absolutely everything you need. The fact that they had coffee machines. Like we were saying, Disneyland Paris, you get coffee machines, even in value resorts. The theming's incredible. Like, you're so right. They do kind of over-deliver, which is amazing. Ashley has said if anyone is looking for a day away from Disney World, then Winter Park is a gorgeous little city with a canal boat tour near Orlando. Lived there for 7 years. I've heard loads of great things about Winter Park and it looks stunning. I've seen people on the boats and like you say, sometimes it's nice to go somewhere and have like a really relaxing day. And Winter Park sounds like it. That sounds like the place to visit. And this is the thing, there's so many nice places around Orlando or in Florida to visit that sometimes if you can do like a slightly longer stay and you get to experience all of these other things on offer, is amazing. Yes, Jill is saying your adult kids are desperate to go to Epic Universe. You're staying at Terra Luna for a few days before Disney. Yes, it's perfect. Yes, Terra Luna and Stella Nova. If there are not 2 drag queens that are developing this right now in Orlando, they need to be, because I think they're great drag queen names. But yeah, they look like really, really nice hotels and they seem quite affordable as well, which is fantastic. And something that I like is Universal do a lot of family suites. So if you are a family and you need more beds, a lot of the hotels accommodate that. Again, you get free buses to Universal. They're all very, very close. Like, it's amazing. So I really like staying at Universal. I had an unusual experience because obviously there was a hurricane and I could not praise the staff more. Like, they went above and beyond. The fact that so many of them stayed at the hotel for the 3 days, didn't go home, just stayed in the hotel, was remarkable. Like, amazing, super comfortable rooms, like really big actually. I think they were actually bigger than the Disney rooms, which was interesting. I stayed at Cabana Bay, loved the kind of retro theming. So really loved Universal and I can't wait to I'm gonna do one value resort and one Premier resort at Universal and then switch to Disney. So I think it'll be really interesting to get the experience and yeah, cannot wait. But thank you so much for coming, Mark. Early start tomorrow, which does make sense. Gotta earn those Disney dollars, 100% that. And it's so nice. You say you're loving the Most Magical Guides community, and that's the thing I've enjoyed the most. Like when I started Most Magical Guides, I thought I'd make some videos and you'd kind of put tips and advice out to try and help people navigate the parks so they can get the most out of it. I really didn't expect to kind of. I thought maybe you'd get an occasional comment like, "Oh, I like doing this in the park" or something. But the thing that's been the most excellent for me is getting to know so many of you. It's been so nice, and it's so lovely how supportive you all are, and all of the comments coming to live streams. And that's the thing I love the most, and that's why I'm so excited for this meetup to actually get to meet face to face. It's gonna be fantastic. And now doing the consultations and getting to speak to people over Zoom and getting so excited about their trips as well, I absolutely love. So thank you so much, Mark. That's such a lovely comment, and thank you for joining us. And yeah, like you say, every day at work, it's just like, I'm thinking of Disney. I'm making the money for the Disney. It's so true. Jill, you're so right. You'd like to try one of the 2 bedrooms at Endless Summer as they're so affordable. And that's the thing, you're so right. Like, if you are looking for rooms with more space, they are so affordable. And they're such nice resorts. And yeah, I totally think Universal is a really good option. If you're looking to do both the parks, you want to do a split stay, you could do split stay between Disney and Universal, or if you're just looking for a more affordable trip, staying at Universal and then getting an Uber or something, really good option. Oh, thank you so much, Guy. He said, thank you for everything you give out on your channel, Sophie. I wish you big things for Most Magical Guides. That's so kind of you. And yeah, it's literally wonderful to kind of have so many people that are just the nicest people. So thank you all so much, because it means so much. I'm so grateful. And I just love interacting with you all. It's so much fun. And especially when you get to talk to people who get it. They're like, we get Disney. People that don't get Disney, they don't understand. And it's like, it's so difficult when you're trying to explain to people. You're like, oh my God, but this happened. Or like, this deal, what do we think about this deal? And they're like, I literally have no idea what you're talking about. But we all know, we get it. So it's perfect. Oh, you're so kind, Guy. It's so nice. And yeah, I have been absolutely loving working with you and doing the concierge service, and it's been such a joy planning your trip, and I cannot wait to hear how it all is, and especially your daughter's reaction to everything. And she is adorable, and I can't wait because I think she's going to have the best time. And it's so nice that your love of Disney, you now get to share with your daughter, which I think is going to be fantastic. Serena said, Endless Summer Family Suite is amazing. You've been with your boys and your husband and you didn't feel on top of each other, which is so nice, isn't it? Because when you are away, particularly if it's like 2 weeks and stuff, if you're kind of all falling over each other, it can be difficult because you're all trying to get ready, or someone wants to do something and someone needs to do something else. But these rooms, I think, are fantastic. And yeah, I really like the Universal resorts. I think they're a really good option. So I love that we're all like on board with it, and I can't wait to see these new hotels. I'm so excited for the Helios. I cannot wait to see more details, because we've only kind of seen the name and like concept art, but it looks incredible, and getting to kind of be inside the park, next level. But yes, so Guy has said you should definitely use this point to talk about what you offer for people who have just dipped into this live. And yeah, this is such a good point. So if you are planning a Disney trip and you have some burning questions and you're like, oh, there's a lot of information out there, but you don't know what's right specifically for you in the way you want to visit, then we can do a Zoom call. We have a 45-minute or a 90-minute Zoom call. And it's been amazing. So many of you have turned up tonight that I've already had Zoom calls with, which has been fantastic. And I can kind of give you the advice tailored specifically for you, because there's so much information out there. It can sometimes be hard to work out what is right for you, and there can be conflicting advice. So we can narrow it all down. You can get the tips and advice specifically that you want. The 90-minute version is great if you kind of have an idea of what you want, but you'd like to know more in detail, depth, maybe the best way to book, what's the best strategy, stuff like that. And then of course with Guy, I've been doing the concierge service, and that is where I will help you plan everything. So we can price up trips for you. I'll also create the itinerary specifically for you, what you'd like to do, and let you know the best way to visit the parks each day so you can get the most out of it. I also have the Disney World dining booking service. So if you're not going to be available at that 60-day mark, or you're just feeling super overwhelmed, I will book it all for you. And I have this strategy that I've been using. I've always got 100% of the dining reservations I've wanted at the 60-day mark. And I'm super, super confident I can do the same for you. And I'm so confident that if I don't get you that 100% of your reservations, I will give you 50% of your money back. And it's been really interesting, actually. I've had some bookings already for 2025 because what I do is I'll only book one person per day so I can focus just on your reservations. You're not going to be competing. And I'm like, oh, I've got 5 different people to book at the same time. It's just not possible. So I only take one person a day. And it's been really nice to see people already booking for 2025 because they're like, I definitely want this booked, so I'm going to book it early. And yeah, it's wild. And I think that's the thing it's really funny about going to Disney is you book so far. I think like when I booked for November, I was like, it's about 19 months away, which feels so far. But it is so exciting because then you know you're going to Disney and it's just the best. So yeah, if you ever want any tips or advice, then do come check out my page. I can update the description and I can give you a link to my website. But yeah, it's so nice to be able to kind of interact and help because that's why I started my magical guides was I would go to the Disney parks and I'd meet people and they were having a great time, but they were kind of because there's so much information and they just didn't know where to find it, they were waiting for a long time in the queues and they couldn't get the dining reservations they wanted. And as we all know, Disney trips can be so expensive and you wish to go for such a long time that you want to get the most out of it. And I was like, oh, maybe I should do something where the tips and advice that I've picked up over the years of visiting and like, I am obsessed with planning Disney trips. So I've had like hundreds of different spreadsheets and like documents that I've made and thousands of hours researching. And I was like, if I can condense all this down and then put the information out there and it can kind of help make things a bit easier, not as stressful, then that will be amazing. And it's been incredible because it's become so much more than I anticipated. And it's wonderful to kind of get to share my love of Disney and love of planning and help other people get the most out of their trip. So thank you all for joining me on this adventure because it's been so much fun. Oh, Serena said, thank you so much. You've helped me and you've been going to Disney for years. And I think that's the thing, isn't it? That Disney's always updating, it's always changing. And there's all these little insider tips and tricks that even if you've been going for a long time, you suddenly hear about something. You're like, that's amazing. So it's so nice to all share our little tips and tricks. Yes, Guy, it'll be amazing to say, oh, you'll be doing Disney for years and a few years too. And yeah, I think this is the thing. Your daughter's that they're like perfect age now to be visiting Disney. And I think like she's going to be obsessed with Disney World. I think you're going to make so many memories together. And like we were saying the other day, me and Guy had a call on Friday night and we were talking about like I went to Disney World for the first time when I was 6 and my nan had like a like an old video camera. And I have the VHS and I've had it now like converted to like a USB stick and I still go and rewatch the memories even though that was like well over 30 years ago now and it's just amazing. So it's one of those things that I love that it's generational that when you get to experience it with your family and then when you have kids you take them and everyone just feels the magic. And like Jill was saying, like you still visit with your adult children and it's wonderful, isn't it? Because it's just something everyone loves to do. Thank you so much for joining us, Berlin. It's lovely to see you. Have a lovely evening, everyone. Yes, that'll be perfect. And yeah, the other day, someone actually said, and I think this was the best quote ever. They were like, everyone's once in a lifetime Disney trip very quickly becomes a very expensive hobby. Like, I've never ever heard something so true in my entire life because everyone plans for their once in a lifetime trip and then you have the best time. And I know people talk about magic, but you do genuinely feel magic in the air. There is something in the Disney parks which make it so different. And there's so many places you can go in the world which are fantastic. And you see so much, experience so much, and it's wonderful. You come away with amazing memories. But there's nowhere I've been where you get that feeling. I only get it in Disney Park. And I think that's why I'm obsessed with going because something I really like, particularly I think for adults, I think kids love it because you have that connection to the characters you love and the excitement and you get to go on rides. But for adults, I always say it's a tonic. And when you go there, you don't hear the news, you don't hear about any of the worries that are going on, you kind of forget about anything that's going on in your personal life. And in the parks, everything is joyful, everything is optimistic, and there's such a big message of you are capable of anything, you are limitless, like whatever you are passionate about, follow your dreams. And I feel like that's something that gets knocked out of adults because you've got bills to worry about and this is happening and But when you go to Disney, you get that kind of renewed sense of, oh my gosh, yes, anything is possible. And that's why I think Disney is so brilliant for adults to visit as well as children. Oh God, he said, I said it to you on our Zoom call, but we'll say it here in public. It's your enthusiasm and honesty that makes your channel stand out. Seeing your excitement as you see the cast is adorable. Yes, that's such my favourite moment. And thank you so much for such a kind comment. That's so lovely. But it never gets boring. It's wild to me. Like, I know what the castle looks like, and it's never not emotional, which is just incredible. And I was saying the other day, like stuff like Happily Ever After fireworks, I probably watch that on YouTube at least twice a week and I cry every single time. And I'm like, you must have seen this hundreds of times. You know what's coming. Still going to cry. When I go and see it in person, not going to be able to cope at all. Like, it's going to be nuts. But yeah, I think there's something so special about Disney. Yes, Serena, you're so right. We talked about that quote on our Insta. It is a very expensive hobby. It's so true. But yep, you're so right. Your once in a lifetime trip was in 2022, and you've already been back and you've booked again. So it's fantastic. It's just like we're gonna keep going. Ashley, you're so right. Disney is therapy, and it just you come away feeling so refreshed, so renewed, so optimistic. And I think that's the thing. It just makes everyone feel so good. And I think my favorite is when you have people go and like the husband or the dad isn't that keen, but he's kind of been talked into going. And once he's there, he falls in love. And then on the trip home, he's like, okay, got to get on the internet. When are we booking again? And I really, really love that because I think that's something so nice when you see people's first experience because it's you can't. I don't think I've ever kind of met someone that's been like, I don't like it. I think the only people I've ever met that didn't like it were people that didn't know anything about the Disney parks, didn't realise that there is planning involved. It's not like if you go to Thorpe Park or something, you just turn up. You do have to plan with Disney. Not so much Disneyland Paris, you can be much more go with the flow. But Disney World, there's a lot of planning involved. And I think people that turn up with no idea at all, they can sometimes go away and be a bit disappointed because if you are standing in queues for hours on end and everywhere you want to eat is sold out and you can't get a reservation, you are thinking, what did I get my money for? But that's why I think even if you have just a few tips, you're like miles ahead and then you're getting the best experience, which is fantastic. Oh, those comments are so nice, guys. Thank you so much. This is so kind of you. You're oh, Serena, that's so lovely. And Laurie, that's so lovely. And yeah, I just love Disney. I might have come across. But I think it's that thing, it's because I know how it makes me feel. I get so excited knowing if I can give like a little tip and advice and it's gonna mean you get more out of your day or it's better on the budget or you can fit more in, it makes me so excited because I'm like, I know what's in store for you and it's gonna be the best thing ever and you're gonna come away with all these amazing memories and yeah, it's so fun. Oh, Ashley has said you are going on a Disney cruise next month for your husband's 40th birthday to Alaska. That's literally incredible. Like, but I love that both Serena and Ashley have said their husbands were like not into this, and now they're like, when are we going? To the point where Ashley's husband's like, I want a Disney cruise for my 40th birthday, which is perfect. Like, I would love to visit Alaska, and I'd love to go on the Disney cruise line. I'm just nervous, feeling seasick, but you know, hopefully, I'll overcome that one day. But what an amazing way to celebrate! Like the Disney cruise in general, all the entertainment, the amazing dining, combining it with Alaska, what a trip that's going to be. What a way to celebrate. Laurie, you're so right. That tingling feeling you get when you see the castle is the budget and sense leaving your body 100%. Because that's the thing, isn't it? Like, budget goes out the window. You're just like, nope. Like in England, if I went somewhere and they were like, oh, you're going to spend hundreds and hundreds of pounds per night to stay in a hotel, you're going to pay like £45 for a main course, I'd be like, what? What are you talking about? And Disney, I'm like, yeah, that seems reasonable. That seems affordable. Yeah, no worries. Like, budget doesn't exist. It's just wild. And I think that's the thing, isn't it? When you start planning your next trip, once you've had that feeling, you want to then start, oh, okay, maybe let's stay at a different resort. Oh, let's try that dining. And then like slowly it creeps up. And the thing I'm obsessed with now are the tours. I love doing the backstage tours. And they give you such a unique perspective. And I just recorded, this is very exciting, but I just recorded a podcast yesterday. So I'm going to be starting a Most Magical Guides podcast. So it's going to be every 2 weeks. We're going to have a different guest every week. We're going to talk about a different part of visiting Disney or planning, lots of tips and advice. But I just recorded the first one yesterday, and something that we were talking about is the trains. Now, I was indifferent to the trains, liked going on it, loved like the steam train, brilliant. But a few years ago, I wrote an article all about Walt Disney and his love of steam trains. And then I became obsessed with the Disney Railroad. And I've been patiently waiting for the Walt Disney World Railroad tour to come back. It's not, but Disneyland are bringing back their tour. And that one's a really special train because they've got an entire carriage, which is, it's like really decorated, amazing furniture. It's the Lilibelle, which is kind of obviously named after Walt Disney's wife. You've got this amazing carriage which they used to go in, and you can go in there, hear all about it. And I'm like, no, I need to be a train enthusiast and do this tour. So that's amazing. But if you're looking for a unique experience, and maybe you've visited Disney before, then that can be perfect. You're going to get so much out of it. Yes, Serena, we need to plan a trip together so we can experience the parks together. Yes, it's so true. And something that was actually really nice is when I was there this March, so many people happened to be there at the same time, and people like not even realizing. So bumping into people was so fun. But yeah, having a like dedicated, this is when we're going together would be amazing. And yes, Lisa, thank you so much. I think the podcast is going to be so fun, and like I've got some super exciting guests. Like everyone I've asked so far, I've been so lucky if I said yes. So like, should but I'm like, oh, should we spill some tea? But basically, I think you're going to be really excited for some of the guests. I think we've got some amazing people. And if there's any topics you'd actually like to see covered, like in a podcast, specifically like a planning thing or something like a deep dive into a specific park, an attraction, something like that, do let us know, because it's so much fun. And it's always nice to then have a guest that's directly related to that. So that's what I've been trying to do, like find people who have experiences specifically about that. So it's going to be so much fun. Yes, and the thing I'm going to do with the podcast as well is that also I'm recording them with video as well, because I am someone, I can't listen to podcasts because my eyes need to be doing something. So if I'm out walking or driving, I can listen to a podcast. If I'm in the house, I can't do it because then my eyes are trying to find something to do and I can't listen. So I was like, I love watching podcasts. So we're also recording it, so they will be going up on the channel as well. So that should be super, super fun. And I always like being able to like see people when they're talking. So I think that'll be fun. Hi, Victoria! You go to Disneyland Paris in less than 20 days now. That's so exciting. When your trip is that close, it's the absolute best, isn't it? Because you're just like, it's mere weeks until I'm there. And you're like, we just need this countdown to hurry up. And it's going to be so much fun. I've absolutely loved the new parade, the song. The more I heard it, like there was one night, and I think it was like the second or third night, and I was lying in bed and I couldn't go to sleep because I couldn't stop thinking of the song. And I was like, that's how you know it's a catchy song. So I'd love to hear what you think. I'll try and find out what website the article about the train was, because it was so interesting. I'll try and put a link to it. And I just really, really enjoyed it. And kind of Walt Disney's first job ever was kind of on a steam train. And then he used to build these little, I don't know if you've ever, like in England, local parks sometimes have it, where it's like a really miniature railway that you could go on. And Walt Disney used to build these in his back garden. And then all of the trains in the Disney parks are full-scale versions of these trains that Walt Disney built in his own garden, which I think is amazing. What an incredible tribute. And it's that weird thing of the, he just loved trains, and he was like, I want to incorporate that into Disney somehow. And that's how, you know, we've ended up with the Disney Railroad. And I just think it's so much fun. Jill, I love that. 498 days, but you've already hit a milestone. You've gone under the 500-day mark, which is fantastic. Lisa, I'm so excited. 61 days till Tokyo Disney. I am so excited for this. Like, the fact that it's kind of an unexpected trip as well. And I can't wait to hear what you think. Tokyo, to me, I think it looks next level. I'm desperate to visit, particularly Tokyo Sea. It looks fantastic. So we need to hear all of your reviews. But thank you so much, Laurie, for joining us. It was lovely to see you. Oh, Ashley said they have one of the little trains at the Disney Family Museum in San Francisco. That's something I'm desperate to visit. It looks like such a great museum, and to see one of the trains in person would be amazing. And to see it's like actually this is Walt's. He built this himself. Wonderful. Oh, yes, Serena is doing a very exciting trip soon. She's going with Nicole and her little boy Albie. And I think it's going to be so fun to see you in Disneyland Paris together, your kids together. And yeah, I can't wait. And I'm really excited to see where you're staying as well, because it seems a bit different. And it sounds like a really great place, particularly for families. So very excited for that. Yes, Lisa, you're so right. Tokyo looks next level, but next level when it comes to crowds. Yes. I was shocked. I know that the crowds can get big, and I know something people talk about is like dining. Sometimes the queue for like the food can be very long. But when Paige and Mr. Morrow visited, now to be fair, I think he visited in one of the peak seasons for Tokyo. So I don't know if it's always like that. But a lot of the queues were like 150 minutes, 200 minutes. And they had the Premier Access Pass and they like walked onto the rides. So it does seem like if you're visiting in a busy time of year or like you've only got a couple of days, maybe that could be a good option. I would imagine it's probably pretty pricey because I imagine because you're going to be saving so much time, they're like, we can put a price tag on this. But it does seem like if it's in the budget, it could be absolutely worthwhile. So yeah, I'm desperate. I'd love to go to all three of the Asian parks. They look incredible. My friend Derek, who is also on Instagram, he's just started a YouTube channel. He's just been to Hong Kong and Shanghai, and he's just going to start vlogging. So it's going to be like his first vlogs to see. He's already done a merch haul, and it was problematic because I was like, we all know the Asian parks merch is unreal. And I was like, I immediately need to go, but take about 15 suitcases. So good luck, Lisa. Let's see how much you come back with. And I've heard as well that merch is much more affordable. So it's like a double whammy of it's cheaper and it's incredible. How are you not coming home with 15 bags? Nobody knows. It's going to be amazing. But yes, you're so right. Like something that's really lovely about Japan. I have been to Japan before, but just not to Disney. And Japanese people are so polite, so kind. They go out of their way to help people. And I think that's really reflected in the parks as well. And I really like that in the lead up to parades and fireworks, like everyone sat on the ground. And I think that it's just so nice because it's kind of like then everyone can see well. You also you get to rest your feet, which is fantastic. And it just looks like a wonderful experience. Yes, you followed him from my stories. Oh yeah, I'm so excited. I cannot wait to be seeing his vlogs. And he also, I don't know if he's going to vlog it, but he was in Taiwan as well at the part of the trip. And I was watching his stories from it and it looked beautiful. So I'm glad he got to do all three. Also, Duffy. What do we feel about Duffy? I kind of love that he has become like the icon of the Asian parks, and now he's got all of his friends, he's got his little girlfriend, all the merch looks incredible. I'd never heard of him until I watched Derek's video, and there's a character called Gelatoni, which I think is a fantastic name. He's a little cat, little Italian cat. The merchandise for him was incredible. Like I think Derek, he had like ears, he had a bag, he had a second bag, he had like literally everything you could buy of Gelatoni. I'm now obsessed with him, and I've never even been, but I'm obsessed. I need everything to do with him, so it's going to be so good. Yes, Ashley, the vegan food in Tokyo Disney is non-existent, which scares me, and this is the one reason that I haven't been. So the good news is Derek is vegan as well, and when he went to Tokyo and Hong Kong, he found quite a lot of food, and you can actually pre-order vegan meals, so they know when you're arriving, and they will have a meal for you. But Tokyo, it's very, very sparse. And I'm like, I think I need them to have a little bit more because the idea of kind of having to live off of like pot noodle for like a week or something sounds not so much fun. So particularly Japanese food is so incredible. So yeah, you're 100% right. That's the one thing that frightens me. I always say Wagamama's menu is 50% vegan. Surely they could add some more. And I'm like, Wagamama's probably isn't authentically Japanese, let's be honest. But as we all know, I am obsessed with Wagamama. Yes, Serena, when you were in Walt Disney World last year and you were in the China Pavilion and Epcot, they had the characters there, which is so fun. So yeah, if you want a little like taste of what the big Duffy fandom is like. Like you say, in Epcot, you can go and have a look. Also, in the Polynesian resort, you get all of the characters from Aulani, which is the Hawaiian Disney resort. So you can get some of their merchandise at the Polynesian. So that's so much fun. But yeah. Okay, Lisa said, as far as I understand, Premier Access passes in Tokyo are a pay-per-ride system, and all the rides are about 10 to 15 euro. And you're both allowed 2 check-in bags. Oh yeah, you're allowed 2 check-in bags. That's it. One of them's empty, and it's coming home with all of the merchandise. That's interesting because I know. So Paige and Mr. Morrow stayed in a Disney hotel, and they had a package that they could purchase Premier Access, and from what he implied, it seemed like you got, it was kind of like Premier Access Ultimate. You got a certain amount of rides per day, and I think you did book them in advance, so you had to select time slots. But I don't know if it is because they stayed at a Disney hotel, you can buy a package, or if they had personally just pre-ordered these individual ones. Maybe that's it. So I should definitely look into that more, because I think that's really interesting to see how their Premier Access works. And like you say, I think when you're there, you can kind of get a sense of what rides you might want to pay for and which ones not. So I kind of like when you have the flexibility, like in Disneyland Paris, where you can decide, do I want to pay for just one ride? Do I want the whole thing? It's nice you've got options. So Victoria said, what do you think about the new menu at Disneyland Paris? And it doesn't have any vegan options apart from the sauce. Yes, Last Chance Cafe has completely changed its menu, and the iconic vegan chili, which even non-vegans loved, it was like a standout dish in Disneyland Paris, is gone. And they've replaced it with a menu, and nothing on the menu is vegan. And I'm wondering if, like, there is a tofu salad, and there are things that seem like they could be vegan. So I don't know if the menu will be updated and have the vegan label, but at the moment they aren't. And if that's the case, it'll be a real shame, because although most places will have a vegan option now, it's only one vegan option. So in the parks in total, you're looking at maybe like, you know, if you're looking at quick service restaurants, you've got maybe 15, 20 options. So anytime you lose one, it's such a shame, because you've got then less choice. And of course, it was just so iconic, like everyone loved it. So I'm hoping, fingers crossed, that something will be vegan there. But if not, it's such a shame. You're like, come on, guys, you can do this. Yes, Lisa, it's so difficult, isn't it? You're like, I'm going to live off the popcorn. But it'll be fantastic to hear if you do. I know there is supposed to be one vegan curry that's supposed to be really, really good in Tokyo. So if you do find any foods, it'd be fantastic to hear. Yes, Serena, like you say, it seemed like it was part of the hotel package that Pedro Miss Morrow had these passes. But like I say, I don't know if it's like an ultimate one where they had so many rides a day, or if they had purchased them individually in advance. But it was definitely part of the hotel package, so that was really, really interesting to see. Yes, but yeah, it'll be very interesting. Yes, that'll be fantastic, Serena, actually, if when you go, because yeah, I'm assuming the new menu's already up and running. So it'll be interesting to see what's there, if they've got any additional logos, or even if you eat there, what the food's like, because they've kind of changed to an Asian style menu now, which I think is really interesting. So that'll be it'd be nice just to see the reviews, what people are thinking. And the first podcast, the podcast I recorded yesterday, I don't actually know what order they're going to come out in, but the one yesterday was all about the updates that are coming to the Disney parks in the next couple of years and how that will impact your trips. And the good news is most of the parks are coming towards the end of their cycle of refurbishments or updates. So of course you've had Epcot, had years and years of work. That's coming towards the end now. Tiana's Bayou Adventure is going to be opening this summer. There's rumours about things that are going to be coming to Animal Kingdom, possible extension, Magic Kingdom. The Asian parks have all the past couple of years had new lands added. You've got Fantasy Springs as well, opening very, very soon in Tokyo. The only park that's kind of still massively under renovation is Disneyland Paris, and it will be probably until at least the end of 2025, beginning of 2026. So that's going to be interesting. It's going to be interesting to see what the differences are. I think it's going to be great to have like a more cohesive theme in the Studios park. And yeah, just to see what the update is going to be. But I think it's an exciting time for Disney. It's an exciting time because obviously Universal are doing really well. You've got Epic Universe opening. We're going to be having a theme park in the UK. So that's going to be great for us because that's obviously going to push Disney to want to do more. So yeah, that's going to be kind of one of the podcast topics about what's coming, what you can expect in the next couple of years, how that might impact your planning, what you can do, and what the future is going to be for us, because I think it's going to be a great time for people visiting, because Universal are really flourishing at the moment. I know Disney have had financially a very, very difficult few years, and I feel like they will be wanting to chomp at the bit to try and catch up to all these new things Universal are doing. But of course, with the financial difficulty, it's hard to balance it. But it's going to be so interesting for us because they're going to have to step it up, which is going to be so good. So yes, Victoria, this is a great question. Are you renewing your annual pass for Disneyland Paris? And I was wondering this the other day. I'm wondering what mega fans like you and Peter are doing. This is such a good question. So for me personally, I haven't renewed. My pass ran out at the end of March. And I haven't renewed just because. So I had never ever bought an annual pass before because I typically visit in the off season and I've always got really, really good deals. And I booked my annual pass because me and Peter had booked to do 2 trips, and he'd booked hotels with his annual pass, and they're room only, but we've got fantastic rates. So I was like, oh, it'd actually be cheaper for these 2 trips to buy an annual pass than to buy tickets for each trip. So it was also really nice in the parks to have the discount. The downside was, once I bought my annual pass, they then kind of changed a lot of the things. So some of the benefits were taken away. So you didn't get to fully use your pass as you'd bought it. Particularly if you were an Infinity Pass holder, they took away a lot of those benefits. When they announced the new Disneyland Pass, for me, one of the big disappointments was that the hotel discount has gone. And I love staying on site at Disney. So the fact that you couldn't get the discount anymore and you have to kind of always stay off of site to get the most out of the pass, I was like, oh, I don't know. And so, like, for example, I have booked a trip for January next year for Disneyland Paris, and I'm going with a friend, and we're staying at Newport Bay for 3 nights with 4 days of park tickets, and it was £380 per person. So you can definitely still get really good deals. So I was like, I think I'm going to switch back to that, just because I would say about 95% of the benefits have gone away and the prices have gone up about €200, which is such a shame, because I would say if you do go frequently and always stay off site, it can still be really good because you've got your park tickets included and you will still get discount off of the merchandise and the restaurants, although it's only 10% now for both. So that's gone down. It's not as good. But because I love to stay on site, I just can't get over it. And that's the thing. I don't mind doing an on-site trip and an off-site trip, but I wouldn't like to stay off-site every single trip. So for me, that was the big like bugbear. But I know Peter's umming and ahhing and knowing what to do, what not to do, and possibly once all of the renovation works are done, maybe I'll go back to the annual pass. It will be so exciting once you've got Frozen Land open. We know there's another land coming. There's rumours it could be Lion King. That'll be fantastic. The Studios part is obviously becoming Disney Adventure World. And once that kind of retheming has gone, it'll be interesting to see what that's like. But yeah, at the moment, I'm not going to renew. Yes, Guy, you're so right. Disneyland Paris with a lot of construction at the moment. And yeah, Frozen Land, when will it be finished? So yeah, at the moment there's no date. People are hoping that D23 this year they're going to announce the date. I think it's probably going to be more like late summer or like towards the end of 2025. So I have been recommending to people, if it's your once in a lifetime trip, which we all know it won't be, but say it is, you're planning it to be a once in a lifetime trip to Disneyland Paris, or you're coming from further afield, so you are coming from the US or South America, Africa, somewhere like that, where it's much, much further to travel and much more expensive, I would wait until 2026 when everything's going to be complete, because then the construction of the updates of Walt Disney Studios Park or Disney Adventure World is going to be finished. Frozen Land's going to be open. It will just be a much better experience, because at the moment there's a lot of construction going on. My new Disneyland Paris vlog series starts on Wednesday, which I cannot wait. I was there with Peter again. It's a hoot. It was so much fun. But you'll kind of get a glimpse of the construction at the moment and what it's like. And I feel like, as we were saying earlier, if you're staying at a hotel and there's a pool renovation, they will let you know in advance. But when we were booking our trips, at no point was there any mention of half of this park is going to be shut. and there's going to be construction noise happening, they're not really telling people. And I feel really bad for people that don't know, because like obviously I watch a lot of vlogs and I follow a lot of like Facebook groups to do Disneyland Paris, so you were kind of aware. And because it was our last trip of our annual passes, we definitely wanted to go. So we were like, we'll just go and it's fine. And we're fortunate enough that we get to go semi-frequently, so it's not the end of the world. But I do feel bad for people where it's their once in a lifetime trip, or it's their once every 5-10 year trip, and they haven't been informed, because it is a lot of construction. Even in Disneyland Park when we were there, and the whole of Disney Village, like when you leave the parks and you walked past World of Disney, that was all behind walls. Planet Hollywood was all behind walls, like literally all the way from the parks to Annette's was walls. And in the Studios Park, it's walls. Studio One's now shut. Disneyland Park had construction walls, so I was very surprised. It was much more walls than I was anticipating. I was surprised when they announced the name change. They didn't call it Walt Disney Studios Park. That's what it should be called. That's what it is at the moment. Maybe we'll have to use that for the next kind of year and a half. So yes, Victoria, you didn't realise how many benefits have been taken away. Yeah, and that's the thing that was such a shame, is that when you purchase your pass, obviously you've seen on the website, like, you've got this benefit, this benefit, this benefit, but at any time, Disney could change that. It's like part of the small print. So I know a lot of people that had bought the annual pass in the March, because we knew there was going to be a change coming up. So people were like, buy it just before the change happens. And then about a month later, particularly for Infinity Pass holders, they were like, you don't get any viewing spots for the fireworks anymore. You don't get your private entrance. You don't get luggage storage. You don't get pet storage. Like, there was loads of things they took away, which is difficult because people obviously purchased that tier for some of those benefits. So to have it and a month later it be taken away and there's nothing you can do about it was such a shame. But there are rumours that the Disneyland Pass might be updated, so maybe some of the benefits will change, hopefully for the better. Hopefully they'll add a few more things in. I feel like I know a lot of annual pass holders that are not renewing. I do feel like that's intentional. I think that they took all the benefits away and increased the price to reduce the amount of annual pass holders, and it's definitely worked, but maybe it's worked too well. So it'll be interesting to see how that evolves over time. Hiya, how are you doing? So thank you so much for joining us. But yeah, if anyone's got any more questions, do let me know. And then we kind of, I can't believe it's already 9:15. This always happens. I never realise how quickly the live streams go because we're just having the best time. So thank you so much for joining us. But yeah, do let me know if you've got any final questions. And it's been so fun talking about the hotels and also hearing your own personal experiences of the hotels, what you'd recommend, your tips and advice, and just hearing about your upcoming trips. It's so much fun. I absolutely love it. And yeah, thank you for taking time out on a Sunday to come and join me. It's been so good. And like I say, lots coming up. We've got the new Disneyland Paris vlog series that's going to start this Wednesday, and it'll be going for 4 weeks, which is great. Then I'm going to have a stretch of planning videos. So if there's any topics you would like to see covered about Disneyland, Disney World, Disneyland Paris, do let me know, and then we can kind of get that going. We've got the podcast coming up. That's probably going to be every 2 weeks, and it'll probably start the end of May, beginning of June. And that's going to be so much fun because we have guests each episode, and I can't wait for you to see some of the people that are going to be joining me. It's going to be so much fun. Hi, Rebecca. Lovely to see you. And you're going to be staying at Sequoia Lodge in September. I love visiting in September. Such a great month. The weather's so nice. The crowds are a good size in September, and yeah, we had such a good time when we went last September. So I'm so excited for you to have that experience because I think it's one of the great months to go and visit Disneyland Paris. I also love September for Disney World. That's a really sweet spot. Little Jaffa, the cat's turned up. Hello, Jaffa. Do you want to say hello? Do you want to come say hello? Oh, he said, no, don't talk to me. But yeah, I'm so excited to hear about your trips. Like, that's going to be perfect. And have you ever stayed at Sequoia Lodge before? It'll be great to see what you think. And I love that it's kind of right by that lake. Such a beautiful kind of part of Disney. And very relaxing, having a little wander around the lake. And you're right next to the Marble Hotel. Lots of great dining, lots of great restaurants, bars. I'm obsessed. I really need to stay there because every time I go, I visit. And I'm just like, at some point, you're just going to have to bite the bullet and stay. So it'll be so good. But thank you so much for joining me. It's been wonderful. It's been another amazing live stream. And yeah, loads of great ideas. Very much loving all the meetups. This is going to be perfect. And yes, still so much more to come. So thank you so much for joining me on all these adventures. And oh, you're going to be going in December as well at the Art of Marvel Hotel. What a dream. Disneyland Paris at Christmas is stunning. And to stay at the Art of Marvel as well will be fantastic. But thank you so much, Lisa. It's so nice chatting. It's been so nice to talk to all of you. So thank you for joining. And until next time, have a most magical day. And then we have to ignore this bit where I can never find the button. And it's always an awkward way. I'll have to learn how to do this seamlessly. But see you soon, guys. Bye-bye.